man.
Yeah, you're looking.
Thank you.
You're looking.
Your face looks tight.
Trim, dude. I
Tight.
haven't eaten for 3 months in preparation for this, so I'm glad it's showing through.
That's dedication. I'm getting there a beer,
That's fine.
but I can still hear you guys while I walk away. So
Cool. Steve Thyden and Josh Martinez. Let's go.
let's go. So you post this on the Facebook page. That's what you do. That the Southwestern Facebook page. What you posted on?
Yeah. It's just so because there's like more people there. There's like 1,000 people that could potentially watch on there, and we don't have enough likes on our Facebook page yet to go on there. So
I think I liked it for you guys.
yeah. We just started it like this week, and we got like 50 likes or something, or it's moving quick. So slowly
Okay.
but surely, I feel like it'll move on. So my roomies from my first summer. How exciting. And we are gonna go live.
You should just post this guy on there. He'll get all the likes.
Heck yeah, dude. Okay, so we are completely fully live. Let me introduce you guys real quick. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ponytails. This is episode number 9. Excited to be doing this right now. Special episode on New Year's Eve to close out 2020 strong. Finish strong. I want to win. Finish. I am live with Josh Martinez and Steve Thyden. These guys were my roommates my first summer, which is going to be what we're kind of talking about primarily. But we'll go wherever the conversation takes us as usual. And so. Steve is from Omaha. Josh is also from Omaha. We met in college. Steve was my student manager that summer. It was his B summer, his second summer, and he recruited Josh and I right before the summer. Like a couple weeks was Josh, and then I was a few days. So we'll get into that and how all that happened. But welcome, guys. Welcome. So good to have you. So exciting. Josh is with his dogs.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man. We appreciate it. Excited to support your next venture.
Yeah, it's so cool to be doing this, honestly, because I've gotten to talk to so many people that I hadn't talked to in a while, and it's super exciting to hear some cool stories. So it's pretty fun. Dude, heck yeah. All right, so guys, so tell me about what are you guys up to now? Or let's catch up real quick on what you're currently working on, what you're doing, and then we'll get into Southwestern stuff here in a bit. But what do you guys start with, Josh? What are you up to? Tell us some good news of 2020.
Yeah, still here in Omaha, Nebraska, living here. Currently I am a travel agent is the job, but the main thing I focus on is we have like a lot of home-based agents, like outside contractors, you can kind of say. So of training and recruiting them. Um, that is my main focus, but I still also sell your basic Caribbean, Mexico, Europe trips, kind of stuff like that. So that's work wise. Personal, I have 2 dogs who you'll see running around back here. I have a fiance who's getting ready for New Year's Eve right now. So
Oh,
things
yeah.
are things
Congratulations.
going well. Thank you.
Heck yeah, dude. Cheers
Hats
to
off
that.
to you. Hats off to you.
What about you, Steve? What are you up to?
I am in Jacksonville, Florida. Working as a sales manager with a company called Vivint. Doing the sales manager thing. Me and my girl, Erin, are closing on our house right now. So that's fun and exciting.
Oh yeah.
And I'm playing around with the cryptos right now. So that's fun. And some other, maybe hit or miss investments that, maybe 10 years from now will either be a flop or a good thing. We'll find out.
If it's a good thing, you can give me a call. If not, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you guys what I'm doing. I am working with Primerica, so I'm doing investments and insurance, and then I'm actually just started a new job with self-publishing school. You guys remember Aaron Schaefer and Dylan Barr? Yeah,
Yep.
so we work with this company, and they basically educate people on how to self-publish a book. And it's super cool. It's a really cool company, late startup, I would say. and it's super fun. Everybody that I've met so far is really cool, and the culture is a lot of self growth and positivity. So I feel like we tend to flock to that after we leave Southwestern, is to just some sort of positive thing. I don't know, maybe not, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. As far as personal news, I'm not married, no kids, I don't think. Not even the slightest thing of similar to a girlfriend. But my brother and sister-in-law are pregnant, so that was like the big news this year. So I'm gonna be an uncle.
Go Danny and Aisha.
And that's right. Yeah, super exciting. So they're due in April, so I'm gonna be the best uncle I can be. so heck yeah. Now let's move into like the Southwestern stuff. So Steve, I want to hear this story from your perspective, because we got recruited like literally at the end. You took I think it was a 5-person team that you took out that summer, right?
Yep.
And you had 3
Yes.
2 weeks away from sales school. Well, tell me about recruiting Josh and about recruiting myself. What was that like from your perspective?
Wait, time out. What were the 5? Me, you, Poncho, your one buddy who left early. Who was the 5th?
Yes. Oh man.
Wasn't it a girl?
Oh no, I don't even think it was. It was technically, it was to sales school, because one of my buddies, Kurt,
Yeah.
he made it to sales still, but he didn't make it out. And then Bolin, one of my friends from high school.
Asian dude, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was an interesting. Yeah.
Did Kurt not make it past sales school? I was thinking he made it out like his first week or 2.
No, he came to sales school, and then he was like terrified of everything that was happening at sales school. I was like, nah, I can see why you guys should get. It's like, yeah, Andres, Josh, they got it. They're gonna be doing great. But yeah, this is not for me. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Thanks for coming.
Fair enough. All right, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I guess going into last couple weeks, I guess one of the things from Southwestern that I do, one of like the big gems, is the I want to win like mentality of like not giving up and running through the tape. So it was basically just had recruited really hard, or tried to recruit really hard. B contract year, just wasn't really good at the relationship game yet, and really didn't have much to show. So I didn't have a lot of people that wanted to follow me based off of results. So I took that to my advantage in the last couple of weeks. I figured if I recruited people in the last couple of weeks, they wouldn't have time to figure out, what I was full of shit of and what I wasn't, So no, I remember talking. Yeah, I think I talked to Josh at our first like real interaction was at Runza, but we had initially met at UNL's attempt to win the greatest dodgeball game world record kind of event. So that was like a 700 on 700 awesome day of like my mini version of heaven. I'd met Josh there recently. And then from my perspective, I remember talking to Josh, and I think I was doing like the overemphasizing like how hard it was, not really understanding that it would work with Josh. I just didn't want to like bring out people that weren't committed. And every time I was like, yeah, it's pretty tough. I don't know if you'd be able to do it. Like it's, like a lot of, most people quit. And I think I just got to the point where at one point Josh was like, stop. Just like, I'm doing it.
I mean,
Probably.
And I'm like, it was really
straight
weird,
up pony.
That wasn't the 3-step process, but he's like, no, I'm going to be the best. I'm like, all right, I believe you. Like, I'm like, am I allowed to just like say you're on the team, or do I have to do this process? And that's pretty much what I remember for that. But I was trying to do this really elaborate thing. I think I did the opposite of the salesman thing where you're supposed to listen, and I just talked. And I talked too much, and eventually told me to shut up, and that he's going to go destroy everyone. So
it's funny because even as you talk about that, the whole, it's really tough, I don't know if you'll hack it kind of thing. Like my stomach starts to get like those like fire, things of like, fuck you, man, I can do this. Fuck you, man, I'm in. You know what I mean? I get suckered in so easily.
Oh man.
Yeah. This thing I'm doing right now, Josh, though, it's way tougher. So I won't even I won't even talk about it. I don't want to waste your time.
He's at it again. This is a ruse.
Yeah. I know you had it back in the day, but I know that ship sailed. So I know you seem pretty comfortable where you're at.
You don't seem to be challenged. That's awesome.
I've already told you if I wasn't where I was, what I'm doing, I'd be out there for sure.
Yeah.
Hey man, I wasn't saying anything. I was saying
I just buy an atmosphere right now. So that was like 2
Like
weeks
it, don't
before
like
the
it.
summer. That was like 2 weeks before the summer, right?
Yeah.
Like a week or two.
That
Yeah.
that was Josh, and then with Josh specifically, it was one of those one. So the end of the summer, the end of the semester is kind of this weird time because everyone's busy. They're doing finals, they're studying, and so I don't really. My perception, at least at that point, I couldn't tell whether people were BSing me or if they were being real. And so I know that within like the last, a couple of days leading up to going, Josh was kind of like not really being like super responsive or, I don't know if there's like showing up to meetings, but I remember like being like, hey, we need to meet up, it's a few days before we're going. And, I was really trying to like, be the hardcore manager and be like, yeah, like you're still coming out, right? And Josh was just like, bro, like, shut up, leave me alone. Like, I'll
be there.
memorize it. I'll be there. Stop trying to train me. I don't need your help. And he showed up. So that was cool.
I showed up.
Showed up, did really well. Yeah.
Honda CRV.
Yeah.
Honda CRV.
Like, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I don't know what your perspective, and then I'd move into on to Andres's.
Let's share your side of the story, Josh.
Yeah.
What do you?
I mean, it's tough to remember all the exact details, but I remember Runza talking
By the
about
way,
it.
sorry, let me pause it real quick. For the people that don't know what Runza is, because Runza is very Nebraska. It's like it's a burger joint, but they sell these things called Runzas, and they're like a beef inside a bread with cabbage. It's not good, in my opinion. It's disgusting. But people
runs right through you.
Yeah. Well, Brandon Q shout out says you can't spell Runza without the runs, which so essentially, yeah. But anyways, okay, so it's a restaurant at the Union in Nebraska. Go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're cool. Yeah, so eating there, yeah, on campus. I was sitting there. I remember, I recognized Steve from Dodgeball, which by the way, I was one of the RAs that helped set that up. Fun fact for you. And I think I had seen you like a intramural soccer or something like that before, but yeah, we had never like actually talked before. Talking about Southwestern, I was instantly hooked on that instantly. Just the concept of it. I remember calling my parents, told them about it. They were against it. Figures, nothing too crazy there. But yeah, other than that, I do remember you trying to meet to like talk about something, and I think we met like once. But I do remember blowing you off a few times because I remember, we had, you said finals, cleaning up your dorm room, et cetera, et cetera. And that was an RA too, so trying to finish up all the RA crap you had to do. But yeah, I don't think I even saw the sales talk until we were actually either on the way to Nashville or until we got to Nashville is when I first saw that there was a sales talk. But
this is the key.
I just remember. So I think it was both of you guys, and then maybe Kurt as well hadn't signed your DAs yet or something like that. Because I remember when we got to sales school, I forget who it was at that point, but someone's like, "Hey, we need all these DAs signed and things, or whatever." So yeah, it's kind of a rushed thing.
I signed the DA when I got into the hotel in Nashville when we drove because Rihanna couldn't find me because we didn't have any paperwork. And so it was like, oh yeah, I'm selling books. Yeah. I don't remember, Josh. I don't know if you had that same thing, but
yeah, I don't remember. It's tough to recall that first, some of these more minute details. But yeah, other than that, it's just that was the ready to go. I remember leaving on the drive, thinking like, holy shit, I'm actually doing this. I'm driving to Nashville. Like, Like, what the fuck am I doing right now? Like, where am I?
2 weeks ago, I didn't know this Steve guy. And now I'm driving to Nashville. Holy shit.
Right? And like, I wasn't one that had traveled the U.S. a lot at that time. I think I'd been to maybe Iowa, a few other locations, but I wasn't just one that had just popped in the car and just gone for a road trip. Even like, family trips, we didn't really do as much as a kid as you hear other families doing. So yeah, no, it was a cool experience. Obviously, I'm still here right now, but yeah, that was interesting times for sure.
Heck yeah. Steve, what do you remember about recruiting me?
I remember the first time I interacted with you. We were playing at the Cook Stadium and indoor soccer field, and what was it? I remember saying I said some like bad joke that you were the only person that like laughed at it. And I was like, oh, okay, this guy gets it. He's
I'm
like
gonna
here to
hang
have
out with this
fun.
guy. Hang out with this
He's here to
guy.
have fun.
What's he doing
And then
this summer?
and then he started talking some shit and like kind of taking some jabs kind of away, but it was kind of playful banter. And so I kind of remembered Andres from there. And then later on, it must have been like I think it was like the Wednesday before we left. It happened pretty quick. We were all outside of the Cook on Maple Lee, playing soccer again. So I don't know if I'm really doing the recruiting thing. I just playing soccer and playing dodgeball, right?
Yeah.
But I remember being outside and there's just a bunch of Latinos here and there are all kinds of just jokes, racist jokes being going on. So there's Colombian jokes and Mexican jokes. And I probably don't even know all the different things that are going on, but mostly what was happening is people were making fun of each other in ways that I didn't really quite understand. But everyone was positive and happy, and Andres was there. And then as we were leaving, it was just kind of one of those thoughts. I think a lot of times we're just told to do something, by God or the thing inside of us that like, and that was one of those things like, hey, just kind of like Josh was like, you definitely talk to him real quick. And then I think I invited you to, I think you blew me off once.
I did.
You're
you blow him
like,
off?
yeah, man. You're like, yeah, I'll definitely show up. I'll definitely be there. And then like the day of, you're like, oh man, no, I don't feel so good. And then I think
I don't feel so good, man.
If memory serves correct, then later, this came out later, that there's like a Barcelona game or something going on, and that was the sick day. But
I get that.
In my defense, I did throw up because they lost.
Okay. And then I don't actually remember this detail. Maybe you can help me out, Andres. Did you reach back out to me, or did I reach back out to you after that?
I reached out to you. It was a Champions League game on a Tuesday. I was supposed to go to this info, and Barcelona was playing against Chelsea, and Messi, of all players, right, needed to make this penalty kick to go into the final. And I'm like, there's no way he misses. And then he missed, and then they lost. They ended up getting kicked out. And I was like, this is an omen. It's because I totally told this kid that I was going to go to this meeting at the whatever, and I completely blew him off, and I feel like a jerk. I should probably go apologize and see if I can make up for it. And this is dead week. And then I went to the info on Thursday. Megan Baker told me that we were going to go skydiving and that we were going to go to New York. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm in.
And I think I was in this info. I do my perspective. So, you know how like sometimes we pretend about like planting like a Southwestern person in the crowd to like rally the thing up. This is literally Andres. It's like we gonna go skydiving. What?
I was
he's like pick me, sign me up. I'm doing this. And most people in the room were like not like super into it. So they're just kind of looking at him. But I'm like,
nobody else stayed.
I'm like, it's Thursday or I think he's gonna come. Like that was funny.
Oh, it was funny. And then
good moments.
And then I think Wednesday of the next week I got recruited, and you didn't even tell me when we were leaving. And then I called you on Thursday, and I was like, "Hey, when do we leave?" You're like, "Oh shit, 2 days from now." I was like,
"It's kind of one of them."
Cool. Yeah, man.
I think both of you guys are the you can't tell the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't tell or whatever they're saying.
Yeah.
You can't tell the wrong thing to the right person
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, I hear you.
I was basically just like, hey, we're leaving on Saturday.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
want to
man.
come? It's going to be
Yeah.
hard and fun. Hard and worth it.
How crazy. How
So,
crazy.
so you went to an info meeting?
Yeah, I went to an info. You didn't go to an info?
I don't remember going to an info meeting. Steve, did I go to an info meeting?
I
Just
don't
were
think
like,
Josh
hey,
had-
let's go.
Yeah,
sell
I don't
books.
think Josh had time. He basically did like the handshake at Runza.
Yeah.
Then he disappeared
Oh
for a
my
week and a
God.
half.
And
I
then
caught
showed
him.
back up.
I caught him outside some buildings one day. I was like, Josh. And I was like, hey man, where you been? We're leaving. You know, are you gonna be here? He's like, yeah, man, I'm here. Just get off my back. I gotta do this already. I gotta do this. I'm like,
That
in my head, I'm
sounds
like, he's not showing up.
There's no way
And
he's
then
going. He's
and
cold
then
as hell.
you know, we have this magical like Saturday morning where it's like, let's figure out who's actually gonna
He's here.
come. It's like, oh,
There he is.
you're both here.
He gets his fifth
Oh,
person.
that's cool. Yeah, that's kind
That-
of neat.
Actually, yeah, because I don't think I went to a meeting, but I do remember being like, listen, man, yeah, I'm in. Just leave me alone. I got shit I gotta do.
I remember.
like, we'll figure this shit out when we get there. Like, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't. You never called my parents. You never did any parent work because because they
Yeah.
spoke Spanish and you couldn't, and like B, like I told them I was leaving the day before. I'm, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to like New York for the whole summer tomorrow. And my dad's like the best response I've ever heard a parent say to their kid telling them they're going to sell books. It was like last minute. I'm like, hey, I'm going to New York. I told them I was going to sell books. It's this whole crazy thing. I don't know how to explain it to you. And he goes, did you commit already? I said, yeah. He was like, did you like say you're for sure going to go? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, okay, when does it go till? And I go, I don't know. So I called Steve and I'm like, hey, how long does this thing go? And he goes, August. So I called my dad. I'm like, okay, so they said August. And he said, okay, cool. Well, have fun. But if you quit, don't come home. And you're not going to stay here. Like if you come home, you're not staying here because I didn't raise a fucking quitter. And I was like, all right.
MVP.
Yeah, straight up. Hot Rod is his nickname.
Right.
Hot Rod stud. So yeah, it was cool. I remember we got to sales school and I met Josh. He was like one of the last ones in. And I already had and I thought I was gonna get to stay in this bed at this hotel by myself because the other two kids were in the other bed. And this guy shows up and I'm like, this guy's a freaking douche. I remember like
Yep.
hating you right away.
Yeah, I didn't like you either. We know this, yeah.
No,
I don't know.
man.
Yeah, it's actually fun.
I was like, I hate this kid. He brought his guitar. Like, who freaking brings his guitar to
I didn't bring my guitar.
Yes, you did.
You're right.
Did I? Oh fuck yeah!
Which is
You
actually a
brought-
good thing. Because
It worked out.
plays guitar too. Yeah, you play guitar too, man. What are you talking about?
Oh, but I was just like, wait, who brings your guitar to an internship? Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Oh man, it was so funny. I remember I hate this guy. And then he had eczema. You remember eczema? I learned what eczema was.
We can talk about that story later on, Andres.
That's funny. I think
That
there
was-
was definitely
a
there's
good thing we
definitely
s-
some
Oh hey, Sarah, you should come meet when you get a minute. Come meet Andres.
Oh man, this is so funny. Okay, sorry, what were you saying, Steve?
Oh yeah. I think it was definitely a case of two guys that two competitive guys seeing that there was some competition in the same space, and
Yeah,
it was a good dislike.
yeah. I mean, it was
And,
for
like-
sure. I was threatened. I was like, I'm not gonna let this kid beat me. Fuck
It-
that.
And nothing against you, but like I typically don't like guys when I first meet them. Like I have like this stupid like little complex where it's just like, fuck you, man. You know, I'm cooler than you are. And like I hate people instantly right away. But Andres, this is Sarah. Steve, you only met her once. Go down
Yeah.
so you can see yourself.
Hi.
Hey,
Okay.
nice
Hey
to meet you.
Sarah.
Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, they can't hear. Okay, one sec.
Oh, hi.
How's it going? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Hey,
you
Sarah.
too.
Congratulations
how
on
are-
your engagement. That's so
Oh,
exciting.
thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Andres. Yeah, you met Steve once.
Long time ago. Like
Yeah,
I think we were
Long
dating
time.
for like 2 seconds. So
Yeah.
that's
nice to
that's
see you
awesome.
again.
Hey, we'll see you at your wedding. We'll be there.
Yes,
It'll be
sounds
fun.
good.
I'll tear it up. I love dancing.
It's gonna be a big party. So
Yeah. Is it gonna be open bar? That's the only thing I request.
yeah,
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
I don't think Josh would not let that happen.
I was gonna say what kind of a wedding would that be,
Yeah.
Josh? If that's so we'll be there. We're gonna light it up. And I think I was gonna try to see if we could if I can meet up with you guys before, so we'll talk about that. So
Sounds good.
so
Sounds
good to meet you.
Yeah,
So
you
good.
too. I think you went to go get another beer, probably.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. You
Okay,
could
have
just
fun.
see ya.
Have fun with your podcast, guys.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, bye.
Nice.
My phone's blowing up right now. What the hell?
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're on. Anyway, so Steve, so you were saying, oh yeah, you have this complex, Josh. That's what we were talking about. You have this
Oh.
little
Well,
complex.
that's not that important, but yeah,
Oh.
it's just
That's the focal. Let's get farther into this,
Let's
Josh. You
dive
want to
deep.
explain about this?
Let's
Why-
pull on this thread.
why
Let's pull
does
this thread.
Josh have emotional issues that causes him to dislike people at first? Let's not talk about
this
that.
it's not a podcast. This is therapy.
But
Mm.
it's one of my flaws. But yeah, yes, Andres and I did not like each other at first.
Later on in the week, I remember this is when I kind of like changed gears with you. It was like late on like Tuesday night. It was like that longer sales school day that's just like rough, and they make you, it's just all memorizing and just all running. And you were like busting your ass trying to find where we were supposed to meet after for the fireside chat or whatever. And I'm like, this kid's like hustling, like good for you, man. I don't like you, but good for you. And I think that when you like just watching you like busting your ass, like it's just such an easy way to gain someone respect is just by being a hard worker.
I think you're getting me confused with somebody else. I coasted through sales school, man.
No,
I
dude,
didn't do shit.
no, it was you, because then that's when I found you. And I was like, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm looking for the group. And I'm like, all right, let's go find them. And we just ran around for like 20 minutes until we were late. And that was, I think, the night we were going to find out where we were going that summer or something like that. It was like, yeah, it was the last night. Sorry, not Tuesday. It was the last night. It was the night when we found out we were going to be roommates.
Yeah, that night, that's Thursday night, right? Thursday
Yeah.
night is we find out roommates. Wednesday night is a fireside chat, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But I remember that. And I remember, oh man, this kid's not bad. And then I find out we're going to be freaking roommates. So yeah, it was a good summer. Steve got to pick. It's fun times.
I would have picked us too.
Compare. No offense. Sorry, boy.
They're not watching. They're not watching.
Oh man. Okay, so what else? So do you guys remember the drive up at all? Steve, you might remember this. My first customer ever at the hotel before we got to the.
Remember that?
I do remember that.
I remember being like, "Shut the fuck up, Andres. Eat your pancakes. No one gives a shit."
And then we got to Hornell, New York, and we didn't have an HQ. We were like,
Hornell.
"All right, let's go find it."
Canastillo, man.
Canastillo is where
Canastillo.
we lived, but we started off in Hornell.
We started off on
Rita Thomas.
at 7 Russell Street in Canastillo. 14875 maybe.
No.
I might not be it. Anyway, we went to separate churches. I don't know if you guys remember this. I'll jog your memories. I'll remember it. I'll never forget this. There was 9 churches in Hornell, and we were like, all right, we're gonna have to split up. We each take a morning, mid-morning and afternoon church service. And then we all went, and we went 0 for 9. Could not find a freaking host family. And then
before you get to the last one here, because I know where you're heading with this. So this kind of made it even more like what I know where you're heading here. So the one before that, we went to. Do you remember that super old school Catholic church you went to, Josh, where you had to like walk me through like all the steps, and I was like feeling like super judged and uncomfortable like at some things. I was just like, oh god, they know I'm an outsider, like. Oh.
Yep. Well,
it was really, really cool.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, it was like a really cool stained glass. Won't really do justice to it, but it was beautiful, beautiful church. But it was super like hush hush, be very quiet. Know like when to do things, don't step out of line kind of thing. So I was just kind of like being like, okay, Josh, guide me through this process, please.
Yeah, because I'm the one who went back and talked to Father, I think, in the back area, hoping that we could make some kind of speech or something like that. Yeah.
And you guys, we were like, we came out of that last church service and we met up, and it was like, oh shit, we got no place. And then we went door to door and started trying to find a spot door to door. And then we Googled this place, Rehoboth Church in Kennist in Hornell. And it was this all black church, like super Baptist, super awesome, like the stereotypical, like everyone was like, when Jesus walks, like a whole thing. And we get there, we're late, and the only place open is in the very, very front row.
Hey, I got a pretty good vivid of this one here memory. So we're like, I remember that we're like outside of it, and there's so much energy coming from it, and as like polar opposite of the thing, I'm like, well, looks like the service has already started. I don't know if we really want to get into, put ourselves subject to, that. I'm like, this is different. This is different. I don't know how to act. This is the second time that I don't know how to act in a church situation. It's totally different. And then I don't remember her name, but that super jovial, like greeter comes out. She's like, "Hey guys,
Come on in.
you guys coming to service?" I'm like, didn't service start like 45 minutes ago? Isn't it pretty much over? Over? No, it just got started. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, how long is this service gonna be?
We were all together at that point, weren't we?
Yeah, it was the last one.
Yeah, it was all of us. It was all of us. All three of us.
She was a closer. She was a closer. She was just like, all right, come on. And I don't remember who. She grabbed someone by like the arm, and then she's pulling one of us, and the other ones are like, all right, I guess we're going in. And then I'll let you pick up from here, because that's like, I was just like, just remember being marched up. Everyone's going crazy. I'm like, all right, we can sit here. No, we can sit here. And we go all the way up to the front. All right.
Now,
Baton.
we do have to add this part before to make this even make more sense. But earlier on, we had decided that our name for the HQ was going to be the Iron Eagles.
No,
Oh,
it wasn't. That wasn't yet.
Oh, it wasn't?
We didn't decide that until after the church service.
Oh, you're right, because of
Yeah.
the sermon. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right. Do you remember this? You can take it from here if you got it.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead, man. Do your thing.
Okay, so then we sit down and they start giving a sermon about Isaiah 40:31. It's like when the those who trust the Lord are soaring on wings like eagles, is what he was saying. And he talked about how eagles, when they see a storm, they're the only animal in the whole kingdom that like actually goes towards the storm to catch wind and then go up above it. And like, this is amazing. Like, so, I mean, the energy though the vibe was just like
Right? Like
electric. We lost Steve.
It wasn't just like some guy on a podium being like, so when the storms get rough, the eagle flies. It was a guy 20 feet of stage, just animation going, the eagle, it flies, it soars high. You know what I mean? It was
throwing the whole thing.
Yeah, it was intense. We can wait for Steve to pop back though.
There he is.
Oh, your flop sided there, buddy. Did your computer die?
I just called the cops. Don't worry about it. Press the wrong buttons.
You're sideways. There it is. Yeah, so yeah, he was doing this sermon and it was just high energy, super, super wild. And we're just like, what the hell? Sermon gets done. Crazy like experience already. And they're asking us why we're here. Oh, they had a share during the service, like we're from Nebraska. So people started coming up and talking to us about being from Nebraska. And then the one white lady in the entire service, the one white lady goes up and goes, heard you need a place to stay. And it was Rita Thomas, and she was a book girl that never sold books. She was 80 years old, something like that, more wrinkled than a nut. And she just was like super high energy. Just, oh man, it was just such a crazy
She was
thing.
awesome. She was a good person.
And she was like, you can just stay in my house. I was like, how much can we pay you for rent? She's like, oh, you can stay for free. And we have 2 rooms and it was just like this insanely crazy cool. She goes, oh, the only thing is it's not in Hornell. It's like 6 miles south of here. It's in Canisteo. And I'm like, okay, 7 Russell Street, Canisteo, New York, 14823 or something, 25. And she was like, let's go, blah, blah, blah. And super high. They had a spiral staircase.
You're right. 14823. I googled it.
Oh, there you go.
Good memory.
Yeah, I do remember stupid shit like that. And yeah, man, it was the craziest start to the summer. And then that's where we got the Iron Eagles from. Is
Yep.
because of
Yeah, because as he told the story about, and he went in depth, about, you know, the storm comes, the eagle doesn't run from the storm, the eagle doesn't, hide. It goes through the storm. It goes above the storm. It succeeds. It flies. It keeps going, and that's what inspired us. With the whole fuck yeah, we're Eagles baby. This summer we're going high. We're going above challenges. We're overcoming everything, and that's we're all in the same wavelength on that, which is what allowed us to all use that as our goal.
yeah, man. That was I think that honestly that we probably wouldn't have had as good of a summer without that like experience. Or maybe I don't know, who knows, but it was such a thing that like brought us together immediately, like right away. Our chemistry was just through the roof.
Yeah, I'm still mad at whatever kid lost my eagle thing. Remember that?
No, what?
Yeah. So like,
Was
I mean,
it was it Hanson?
this little, I think it was Danny Hansen. Yeah, it was Danny Hansen. Yeah, that MFer, man. Um,
That's funny.
yeah. So like, I went to Scut, right, and we were Skyhawks, but I like won some award when I graduated high school, where I had this huge. I mean, it was a big, like
3 feet
not.
tall.
I mean, it was it. I mean, it was close to that. Like, it was
It was
big.
this giant statue.
Yeah, it was a giant like golden like eagle like up top, and we would like bring it our second summer to like meetings, and whoever like earned it got to take it home with them for the week.
That's
Got to take
right.
it home for them for the week.
The best HQ or like the best first year. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it may have been, and that MF or lost it. How do you lose something that big? Like it's like it fell in my pocket. You know what I mean? That you threw that fucking away. Like don't lie to me, man. Well, that's a different story.
Oh, man.
But yeah, Rita, she was good stuff. She was a good person. I remember getting to her house, and she was so polite, so kind. I still like to this day think about how we made that house way too messy, and how
Yeah, we did not
and how
respect.
she will never host kids again because of how we were just not the most organized people just in general. We're just not very organized, all three of us. So yeah, that was a downfall. But besides that, she was awesome. She was the sweetest, nicest lady.
Yeah, she let me borrow her truck during deliveries. Remember that? Because the only time I ever got car troubles whole summer was during delivery week, and my brakes went out in the middle of the hills of New York. She's like, "You can just use my truck." It was summer of 2012. It was a 2012 Chevy Colorado, like brand new, and I'm like, okay. She was a G. Rita was a great person.
Didn't you like crash that or something?
No, I didn't crash that at all. No, I took care
Or
of
someone
that puppy.
backed into it or something? I know we
No.
dented it.
What?
Oh,
You dented her car?
I know.
It was somebody that came to follow. It was somebody. I think Shane came in the middle of that summer to come follow you, Steve, because it was like the week after you hit
Yeah.
work. We'll get into
Yeah,
that.
Shane Hertig
but-
came.
But Shane Hertig came to follow. Oh no! It was because of this. It was because we had like a power HQ, and we'll get more into that too. But like people like I think Shane came to see what we were doing in our HQ to like kick ass, because we were all kicking ass. It was awesome. And so Shane came, and then the next morning he backed up into the truck. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And it was
I don't
him.
remember that.
We'll get some fact checking on there since he's not around to share whether that his side of the story. But yeah. stay tuned.
I didn't hit. The only thing I hit that summer in my car was a mailbox, because it still had my dad still has this car, and it still has a little divot where I hit that mailbox.
You hit
Yeah.
Rita's mailbox?
No, it was it was a town I was working in.
You still have that car?
that car's still in the family. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. My dad's wife drives it now. So it became it's a Chevy, it's a Mitsubishi Eclipse. Now it's a She-Clips. So yeah, she decked it out. It's pretty cool. But no, I remember that. And then we just got off to a hot start. You guys remember Billy Shoes? Billy Shoes breakfast spot. That was the
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it was in Hornell.
Yeah, that was good stuff. That was awesome.
That was the best breakfast spot I ever had all 4 summers.
I would honestly say my second summer had the best breakfast place, but that was still that was my second for sure.
It was a good time.
Oh, I'm exchanging chairs.
There it is. Oh, you were
Gra-
sitting on that white thing?
Gracias, señor.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
rough.
So this is my little brother John. Well,
What up,
So-
John? I know
I'll
John.
bring it back to him later on. It's just for right now. He works from home right now with COVID, and he's staying with us in the basement just over the holidays. And he works from home, so I gave him my chair. So I grabbed that plastic one, but that was very uncomfortable. So I had him bring my chair up here.
No, you're sitting pretty.
Yeah, much more comfortable.
So all right, okay. So let's move forward through that summer. So then, did you got to follow first, Josh? Was what happened. And
Yeah.
you and Steve came back all fucking laffy daffy, just like
I-
bonding, and I'm like, these fuckers. I'm out here busting my ass by myself and just went and had a day.
I remember. I don't know. I guess what stories were you sharing? How in depth do you want me to go with stuff?
You go as much as you want. It's Joe Rogan style, so you do whatever you want.
Well, I just got a few things. So I remember following Steve and we saw a cop, and Steve always told me to wave at cops. Oh, hey man, as you're driving by him. And it's funny because like my fourth summer, I followed Hannah Reesberg because she was near my territory, and obviously you don't give up a chance to follow Hannah Reesberg. And we were passing the cop, and I was waving at the cop, and she yelled at me, "Don't wave at the cop! Don't draw attention." I was like, "Oh, I've only ever followed one other person. That was Steve." It's like I was always told to wave at cops, and that was funny. But no, Steve had an awesome day that day. You hit probably at least 100 units. Had a steak day. I remember the end of the day. I like fell asleep during your last sit down at like 9:30 at night. And you sold to them. I remember going to the bathroom at their house and like slap myself in the face, like wake up. But no, you had quite a few big sales that day. So yeah, that was a solid day. It was cool. I enjoyed following. I wish looking back on things, I wish I was in a territory that wasn't that allowed me to follow more people. I wish I had people that are around me that were more successful to follow them to see how other people sold books. Because everything that I didn't follow a second person until my fourth summer, and that was with Hannah Reesberg. So that was a fun day.
Holidays are always cool.
And you didn't follow your first day. 'Cause
No.
I remember we're at breakfast. I followed him, and that next day, he told you you're gonna follow him, and you pulled him aside. And I know what the conversation was now, and it was like, listen, man, I'm about to fucking hit PC this week. I'm not following you, straight up. And and that's what it was, right? You hit like 500 units, like week like what 4 or 5, whatever it was. What
It's
was
week
that?
5,
Yeah. So.
and I had to follow. I was gonna hit PC.
But you didn't though, right? You didn't
No,
follow.
I missed it. No, I ended up not following. No.
Yeah, you ended up not following, but
No.
yeah. And then when you did follow him, Steve, you had a 0 day, right?
I sold something,
But Steve didn't.
but Steve didn't.
Yeah.
I remember that way.
That pissed me off
but-
because I had to go deliver her. Like,
Oh, actually, I do remember that. But then, what did you do the next day? I remember this now.
I don't remember that. What do you?
I remember that I zeroed out, like working my ass off and like crying on the insects. I'm like, I'm just trying to like show them a good day. I can't. Someone buy. But I remember that you went out and had like a almost a double steak day or something. I remember that you like sold. So then I was like, okay, I don't have to hate myself. Like something worked.
Oh, it's so fun. was
Self
fun.
beat up. I love that. Self beat up. Good times.
Yeah. You made me feel good. I was like, it's not all that bad. I remember that day I followed you. We went to a guy's house named Mr. Fox, who was like 90 years old and fought in World War II. Do you remember this story?
I see where you're going. Here we go. I think I remember a house.
You mind if I share this story?
Yeah, I think it'd be funny. Yeah. You share the story from your perspective, and then I'll fill in the details of what was behind the curtain.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, this is a great story. I'm gonna comment on our video poop story. Because
story?
Josh, poop story number 1, because you have one too, don't you, Josh?
Yeah, that was for my second summer though, so I don't know if you want me to
I
share
still want to
that.
hear that. Oh yeah, I still want to hear
So
that.
I got my poop story I'm thinking of. I got and 2 stories from my first summer. One with that dad,
Yeah.
and one on the drive to breakfast.
Okay. All right. So
Hmm.
let me finish this story with Mr. Fox, and then I want to hear those. My perspective on Mr. Fox. I'm following Steve. It's like second goal period. We get to this house in the country, and this old guy opens the door, and he's like, "Hello," and Steve's like, "Oh, my name's Steve. Blah blah blah. I think we're at the wrong place because we're selling books and it's for kids." And he's like, "Oh no." But then Steve goes, "Oh though, can I borrow your bathroom?" And so he's like, "Yeah, sure." So he goes in. Steve goes away, and I'm sitting there and I'm talking to this 90-year-old guy. I'm like, "So how's it go? What do you do?" And he's like, "I'm retired." I'm like, "That makes sense." He served in World War II, was a war hero. The only reason I talked enough to this guy to find out is because Steve was in the bathroom for like 15 minutes. I'm like, where the fuck is Steve? I want to leave and I don't know where he's at. And he finally comes out. And we get in the car and I'm like, "Are you
Like,
okay?"
hey, get in the car. We gotta go. We gotta go. Get in the car. What about that? We gotta go. Get in the car. Don't talk. You're a shadow. You don't talk.
And I'm like, "What the fuck happened, Steve?" And then Steve says, "Go ahead."
All right. So what happened was, all right. So usually, I learned after this is a learning moment, teaching moment. Okay. I learned a lot from this that I've always applied forward. I didn't have that knowledge at this moment. So because I didn't do a pre-flush to see how this toilet worked before I, went to it, I was trying to, how you do you want to take the same amount of time to take a shit that it would take to take a piss, right? So, you like go in there, you shut it, and you do that, and you squeeze it out, and you're like, do real quick so it looks like you're not taking a shit in their house because you got to. But you try not to be like, "Yo, yeah, I just took a dump in your, thing." So I go do the thing, go to flush it. Well, it's one of those things where like there's not really any pressure, and it's just everything's just kind of floating, higher. And I'm like, "Oh shit!" So, I try to do the thing, try to like, there's a plunger, so I try to like smash it, to like pieces, kind of thing, and then flush it again, but it keeps on rising. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just trying to like, so I'm in here trying to problem solve. I'm like literally going through problems like, oh, this is, I'm like trained. So I'm like, hey, three positives, problem solving situation. Andres is shadowing. He's probably able to entertain him. And at least it's out of me, not in me, it's a good start. And so I'm trying to get this, but it's just, I don't think the toilet actually worked. Like it either had like no pressure or I didn't take like a giant dump. It was like a normal, But anyway, so after about 10 minutes of like the water's kind of falling over the edge, right? So I'm like literally like getting toilet paper, cleaning it, throwing it away, trying to like wipe it down, that kind of thing. I finally, I get to this moment. This is not a proud moment in my mind. I get to this moment, I'm like, all right, so pros and cons, okay? Can be like, yo, dude, I destroyed your bathroom. I'm like, that's probably not good for PR on, second day here. Option 2, we just get out of here and hopefully the problem solve itself. So it's probably not, I remember it because it's one of the least proud moments. It was kind of funny though. So I like get to the point where I'm like, all right, try to problem solve, trying to think of other solutions. For some reason I didn't just ask him, but then I was just like, all right, we got to go. So I like do everything I can, clean up as much as I can. All of the shit is in the toilet at least, or in the trash can, and wiped it all down. And I'm like, all right, that's as good as it can get. Andres is like still like making the small talk because they probably became friends. They're out there for a while. They're going deep. He doesn't want Andres to leave. I'm like, yo, Andres, stop talking. You're doing the thing. Like, we gotta go. That was that. I never went back to the house. Didn't work on that street again. It's still a mystery. But
Oh man, what a
I like to think that that he went back and it just kind of solved itself and there's no harm, no foul.
He was just like, oh, this is normal. It's actually this button to flush. And then,
Yeah,
like,
the toilet always does that. He knew it going in. Case closed.
oh, what a time.
Anyways, next subject.
All right, Josh. So you were telling us about your poop story, and then you were going to tell us about the dad, and then something else you thought of.
Well, you just want me to jump into those, or you want me to?
Or give us a preface, or should this come later, or should we?
I'm not for sure.
I think we can spread
the direction
out
of
the shit.
everything.
We can spread out the shit a little bit so we can like.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Well then,
Let's
come
continue
back
with
to-
poop story.
Humor in threes. We'll bring it back at
so come back with the poop story. Do something different now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so let's chat about as we started competing as first years. What were some of the things you guys think that we did well to help us succeed? Like what because I will praise this, and will change a little bit of gears from funny to like a little more sentimental. Regardless of how my career went in Southwestern, I owe Steve a lot of praise for just getting me in the program, and B, to just for being such a positive influence that first summer, man. You were like super positive all
Steve didn't
the
do
time.
shit.
No, dude, he would like I didn't realize how negative people were until like multiple summers after. I'm like, oh, not everyone's like Steve. Not everyone was like super positive. That's like helped me in the future. And the fact that he even got me in the company made my brother get in the company, and now he's gonna have a kid. So it pays forward that way. That in a
That's
way.
cool to think about.
Yeah, like holy shit, where would my brother be had it not been for you, So, and then you can go up to Ryan Mom, and like it just keeps going backwards like that. That's kind of cool. That's kind of a cool thought. So yeah, major props, because that summer you for sure were above and beyond as far as a student manager. So that was dope. But I think that was one thing that really helped us do well, Josh. In my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely Steve as the front runner. 98% of it, and us maybe 2%, if that. But yeah, I mean, looking back on it, no offense to other people, but if one, other people in our org, I don't know if they would have recruited me. No offense to them, but yeah, it just the atmosphere that we created, the positivity, the no quit mindset, we never had a negative thing in our HQ.
No.
Steve made that very clear at the very beginning. Everything was always positive, always, just straight up, just straight positivity. There's no really other way to say it. So because of that, that just created a good atmosphere. Even I still think of breakfast. Where as Andres and I are just trying to eat real quick, and Steve's eating with his left hand and mapping with his right hand. It's like, fuck, I guess we got to start mapping too then. You know what I mean? It's like figuring out what our day looks like. It's like, Steve always has a stupid little phrase. Oh, that's good. I got to write that down.
Yeah.
Like I wonder if you still do that. But yeah, then you're like, oh fuck, I guess that was pretty good. I should write that down, So yeah, just you get molded, by the people around you, in that summer. I mean, the biggest things, we were both molds, and luckily we had someone who, if we molded to that exact thing, would also be successful. So I would still follow Steve into the fire, no matter what it was. So
Yeah. Because Steve was a fire. The whole thing about iron sharpens iron. It's like, nah, Steve was the fire. Southwestern was one iron, and we were the other one. Steve was the one that like really you need heat to sharpen it. He's the one that brought that like electricity and that vibe. I even remember like the little details, like to PC each other, like with us, because we both got off to a really good start, and we were both jamming in our own separate ways. Like I remember, Josh, you had a ton of customers, and I just had big packages.
Week 3.
So like we had thank you. We had like thanks. I'm thirsty. we had like a
Wait, where's my person?
um we had like we had like a like the whole thing where there was like that screen door or the glass door between one room and the other, and you would talk to Josh and you screen door and like you maintain your privacy and you like, you remember that? Like it was just you took it very seriously that you did everything right, that everything was right and at your best. And really it's at the tone. It's at the tone. I remember the first week, I had a customer every day. I never zeroed that whole summer. And my first week I sold like 282 units. I didn't know that was a lot. I don't know if that was a little bit. I didn't care because you like made no deal about it. Like you didn't even give a shit. Like later on I found out that that was like the best week in the whole org. But like I didn't know that. I would have never known that just based on how you reacted. You're like, yep, that's who gives a shit about units. Like how'd you sit down? You know, how are your demos? And that also really helped. Thinking back now. So
Yeah,
I love it.
it was never I don't say this in like in a negative way, but it was never good enough, I guess, in regards as well. You know,
yeah.
if he came back, oh, I had, you know, 8, 10 sit downs today.
Get
Could have
more.
got more.
Well, like
Could have got more.
you celebrated well, like you like especially when we were really hitting big numbers because you hit PC that summer too, Josh. It was like we both were jamming, and like for example, if I had PC or if I had steak or double steak, you just be like, good, now go get triple steak, like but you like believe that, like you expected that now, right? I remember the first time I hit like it was we called it a mort day because it was like mort divided by 6 days or whatever. It was like 160 units or something. And it was the first time I had a mort day that you called it. And you're like, good, now go get 200. But like when you said that, it was just with such conviction and belief in me that I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Because I would have never thought to do that. To me, I was like, that was the craziest day. It was my best day ever. But to you, it was like, it's not. So it was your best day ever, good, but it's not your best day that you could have. And you just believed in me that, and it helped. Like it changed my life. So thank you, sir.
You know what would be interesting? Oh, go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
The hold that thought too. I just want to, if Michael Creelan's out there, actually, as you guys were talking, so you guys make me feel great. You guys truly made my job so easy. I was terrified the entire summer of just letting you guys down, because I knew what you guys were capable of, the potential that you had, the reasons you were coming out, and then you guys basically were, you know, whatever level of like hard work or ethic that you saw or positivity, that's literally you guys bringing that out of me, because I could see, you know, in the reflection that inside of you guys, I'm like, man, I can't let these guys down, you know. I firmly believe that, you know, and still do, that you guys were and are more capable, and I just wanted to set the best example. And shout out to Michael Creelan, because my it actually messed with me, I think, in a similar way. My rookie year, I was going out, you know, working really, really hard, coming home late, putting in deals, that kind of thing. And I remember the way at which Michael Creelan talked to me. And, you know, as my ego's inflating, I'm like, yeah, I'm putting you 4 deals like you do. I'm doing the thing. He would literally just, level me back down to reality, and immediately get my mind from satisfaction onto improvement. And so I literally just took all of that stuff that I learned from Michael, and all the things that were effective, I just applied them. And anything that didn't work, I just tried to, you know, my very, very best not to, you know, corrupt any kind of, you know, mentalities that you guys already had. So I'm just sitting here laughing. I'm like, yeah, you think I, you know, helped that much? I don't know if that's the case. I really don't think so. I just did my job to create an environment, and you guys fueled the entire thing. That was such a fun year.
It was
Literally
a great
the funnest
summer.
year ever.
Yeah, it was cool. The next big thing I think that happened is we decided to do the thing where if you hit stake, because this is actually another thing that you did really good. Sorry, we're sharing like what made us a good HQ. This is another thing that I don't know whose idea it was, but you enforced this really well. Is we did a good job of not sharing like stats.
I think it was Josh's actually.
It was Josh. It might have been Josh's.
Jimmy Steaks.
Yeah. Because you got a customer that gave you a bunch of like little beef jerky sticks or something like that, and we did a really good job of not sharing stats to each other. But a way that we found a way around that to be healthily competitive is whenever one of us would hit steak, you wouldn't say it, but you would just walk in, go to the fridge, grab a jerky, and just eat it. And if you did that, it meant that you went at least 100 or more units. And then if you did 200 units, and you get 2 of them, and so on and so forth.
It was the cool walk in.
It was a
No
great way to
comment.
like not
Just,
share stats. It was so good. It was so good. It was so good. I remember this is back when we had paper bars, because now they do everything on an iPad, which is awesome. But I remember we were doing the paper bars. I remember the first one of us to hit steak was, I think, Josh. Josh had a really good day, like the first week or something, or by the time we figured to do this. And so I'm doing there my bar, and I'm freaking frustrated because I sold like a mufu. And Josh walks in and goes into the fridge and gets in. I'm like, motherfucker! I was so mad, dude. I was so mad. Oh man, I was like, I'm never letting that happen again. Man, it was so funny. Good stuff. Anything else that you guys think helped? What was good? What else was good that we did? This is for like any student manager or current student manager.
We collectively really bought in. So when we had the like the sit down, like setting the expectations, co-creating, what we wanted the summer to be like. When we committed to being positive and just being uplifting and doing that, like literally and like physically compartmentalizing when we're having, the puking up thing, right? Actually, I don't know, because you guys might have shared stuff. I don't really know that. Probably.
No, we never
Never did.
Yeah.
Never did.
I never knew anything that happened to Josh until after.
Because I know you guys would ask me like, "Hey, something I do," and I'd be like, "Unbelievable, man! Like, whew, unbelievable! You wouldn't even believe it, Just doing what I was taught. There's a lot of unbelievable days that year, And we had a lot of. It was the most fun. I think there's from my experience, there's a genuine desire for everyone to help each other, right? So it's like coming home. I remember, we can do a segue into here. I remember when Andres was slow, his heart was slowly, attaching to one of the, one of the ladies in force who was doing really well, and I could see why. But then I remember like just the different things that we went through, Andres going through some stuff, Josh going through some stuff, really just supporting each other, that kind of thing. And then with myself, there's obviously things that happened during the summertime, but then me honoring the same space and not intentionally not talking about the stuff, even when I remember when Josh has asked me like, "Hey man, you can talk to me, like I'm your friend. You can share about that," or Andres doing the same thing. You can lean on me too. Just everyone respecting the, like total buy into the system really. And genuinely loving and caring about each other, having fun, laughing. I remember the one of the more memorable things. It's not actually, because I don't even actually have a visual of it, but I remember we were talking about something. I came home pretty late and my mind was just gone. So I'm just talking to you guys and I don't see it. I just hear from you guys.
Remember this.
So I don't actually remember the thing, but I remember that Andres's face was just like, what the fuck? Did that really just happen in front of my face? So you can explain what happened, because it was a very small
this,
thing to me,
Josh?
but I remember the joy from your face.
You freaking like drooled out.
I did? I
thought
drooled?
I thought it was myself.
Or it was you, one of you two. I thought it was Steve.
And then you guys were laughing about it, but I was just happy because you guys were happy.
Steve just like was talking and it was like a drool that he drooled out and then like just spit it and just sucked it back up. It came out.
Awesome.
And I was just like, what the fuck? And we just died laughing. It was such a positive moment. Oh man.
I mean, I feels like the biggest thing, which is tough to duplicate, was that, we just all got along really well. We all had the same goals. We all had similar but different personalities. We all wanted, to succeed. We all wanted the same drive. Like even to this day, I still remember self-talk of, I know Steve and Andre's out there killing it. I gotta go fucking kill it. Don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch. Fucking you got this. You know what I mean? Just like constantly like, spitting out shit to yourself. And like, I think we all just trust each other. We all knew that we were all giving our best effort, and the fact that everyone was doing well, pushed us to keep wanting to get better and better and better, and I know that's not something that you can easily duplicate because it's something that, it just all, fit well. You know what I mean? We all worked together, and it was always fun coming home to the HQ. It's always fun coming to HQ. No one wanted to be the first person home. We
Yeah.
all, but
I
it's
hated
true.
it. I hated it when I came home.
know,
It was a
exactly.
moment of shame. Yeah, like no.
It really was. You know what I mean? We all wanted to work the latest and the latest and the latest and be proud of like, fuck yeah, I came home at 10:55. Bedtime's in 4 minutes, bitches. But I just got
And-
home. You know what I mean?
and-
It's just.
And it was like you were actually working. It wasn't like you were driving around kind of.
Oh yeah,
until someone
yeah,
came home. Like
completely.
you were coming home because you were actually trying to get home. We weren't trying to be slowly driving home either. It's like it was late. You're like, I gotta go home.
Yeah.
And you're still the last one. You're like, fuck yeah.
And like you're excited to get home. You're excited to share all these fun stories that happened to you that day. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was like every day was a new adventure, was fun. What's gonna happen next? What can I share? What
Yeah.
can we experience? And even though you're out on the book field on your by yourself, but it's like you're experiencing it together, in unison, because that they're experiencing something similar and we get to share about it and laugh about it when we get home.
Yeah.
So, I really wish there was like a secret key, that, how do we replicate this? But it really was that, we all just had the same, kind of like Steve said, we all bought in, you know what I mean?
We were
all-
committed.
yeah, we're all committed. We're all
And-
100% ready to go.
And we weren't bought into necessarily Southwestern. It wasn't like we were drinking like the Kool-Aid and thinking like it was we were bought into each other. So like the fact that the three of us said, hey, I'm gonna bust my ass as hard as I can this summer for you. Not for me and not for the company, because I didn't know that. I mean, it was week one. Like I had been introduced to Southwestern for 3 weeks.
Right? It's not like
Yeah, granted, I just had met both of you, but like it was
I
like
was drinking the Kool-Aid.
yeah, Steve was drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah.
And I was drinking your Kool-Aid. I was really bought in.
Yeah, you were mixing Kool-Aids, but that's what I mean. Like you guys, when we sat down, the Wednesday at sales school and said, hey, we're just gonna fucking bust it. We weren't even sure that we were gonna kick a lot of ass or whatever. Like we were aiming to, but we were like, doesn't matter that we're gonna. And we didn't even commit to like the 30 demos. We didn't commit to any like specific stat or anything. We just were like, hey, just do your best, whatever that is. And it worked. We just committed to that so hard. Oh,
Right? Like I
good
even
stuff.
think about, which I still wish we knew this, man. But even Andres, you and I, you know what I mean? We committed as like first years together. I understand Steve was a manager. He had to do his, separation of church and state. But like even us, we do our handshake, each morning.
Yeah.
I remember with like an elbow thing with the kick to the feet.
Yep.
Like I don't remember how exactly it went, but like even us, we were on the same page, ready to go together.
Yeah.
Just no bullshit. Just ready to move.
Yeah, we were for sure bonding for sure. It was tight. We also did a good thing about like, Sundays being Sundays and Saturday nights being Saturday nights when we would
Yeah,
get
it was
pizza.
that pizza place we went to. That was fucking
Amazing.
awesome. That was great.
Yeah.
Those two girls we met, that one of the girls that did your books, Steve. I mean, they were nice people. That one blondish brownish hair girl, because it was in Hornell, so I
Yeah.
sold to her family, and we met them at the pizza place that night. Her mom bought from me, and she was like 17, 18 or something like that at the time, but she did your books for you.
Oh yeah. I was like
She kept your books up.
like all of the paperwork stuff, the postcards and
Your
that.
account,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember that.
Yeah, she did all that stuff
Thank
for
God. Yeah.
But yeah, no, just like I don't know, everything we did was always a good time. You know, driving to and from Sunday meetings. That
Yeah.
one Sunday where we stopped early to try to sell on Sunday morning, so one of you
Yeah.
guys could hit PC or something like
That was
that. I think it was
bullshit.
Steve.
Yeah, it
Steve,
was
you hit it,
Steve.
right?
And,
You hit
and
it.
he got the exact number of units I needed to hit PC, and we just like picked one way. There was a pony on one way. I just picked the pony at the wrong. If I would have gone the other way, I would have got it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
I was
was
so mad.
good stuff.
Yeah, we just did a good job of also building each other up. I remember we liked to sing. I like to sing, and Steve was like, "You're a good singer," and Steve was like genuine when he said that, and I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." And so whenever I caught him doing something cool or right, I was like, "Oh, you're good. You're amazing at this," and we just built each other up completely. And we
You know,
joked well, we teased well, not mean, not neg, but like in a positive way. Yeah,
sometimes I may have teased you a little too much, Andres. My apologies there.
it's okay. It just made me want to kick your ass. So
And you did. You beat me. So it worked out.
that's right, Mitch. Sorry. That's a thing that I'm still proud of, you know?
Hey, I beat you every summer after that. So
Yeah, that's true. But that first summer, I was like, fuck you, dude.
um speaking of summer, you know, if Micah happens to be out there watching this, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
shout out to him. You know, um you know, his playlist of the CDs that he made everybody honestly really helped. And that was actually a big thing that I used for other people was finds, you know, music that you haven't heard before and let that be your first experience in the book field because it allows you to develop all these cool memories, you know, that are symbiotic to these songs, that these, you know, these
Yeah.
lyrics that you're hearing, you know, the hey, I just met you and this is
It's crazy.
crazy,
Yeah, that was
but here's my number. You know, like that was a big one to listen to. There was the let's get rich and buy our parents homes in the top of
Yeah.
France. You know, that one, whoever
Yeah.
that one was. I don't know. Shout out to him because that was something that really helped me out in the book field of those songs that of those CDs we made. And Grant continued that, you know, by making us all those Christian CDs, you know, for the book field. And music was a big inspiration for me. Music was a big focus for me throughout the days. So I appreciated that.
Yeah. That was a jam. We listened to a lot of One Direction.
Oh, dude, I still listen to a lot of One Direction.
Yeah. And in fact, it was the book field that I learned to love country because I
Yeah.
hated country, but there was only one station that I would turn the radio on at the end of the day on the drive home. There was only one station that would ever get through the mountains where I was at, and it was just a country song, a country station, and they played a lot of Eric Church, and so every time that I was driving home at the same time, the same song came on, and that's how I started liking country because Springsteen reminded me of the book field, and I was like, "This is a great song." And I hated country up to that point. So the book field made me appreciate a lot of things that I didn't like, you know? So what do you remember about that kind of stuff? Do you remember any like fun stuff, songs, or anything like that?
Well, Josh is out of the room right now, so I'll hold off for one thing.
I can hear you. I can hear you. I'm just
Oh.
going to the bathroom.
So for the
I can hear them.
love you, Josh. I do remember. There's little things that people say that I hold on to. One of the things I remember from Matt Atchison is as I was like getting some, trying to get as many gems before my rookie year, and he was like hardcore, like no radio, no music, nothing, just self-talk. That's all you want to listen to. Control your radio station inside your own mind. And I'm like, yes. And so I didn't even do like the air conditioning or whatever. No music. Until then, Josh, you gave me the that mixtape or whatever of like all that Christian music. It's kind of like some Christian pop, that kind of thing. So I still have that CD. One of them. I think it's one of the Wow hits or whatever. and it's transferred cars, but I've never like actually gotten like own thing. So I still have that music. So thank you. And mini segue, my like epiphany moment for being a man of Christ happened on the book field. I think a lot of people
Same.
spiritually grow
Yeah.
when I think it's a combination of a lot of things. You're meeting a lot of people, you're connecting with people, a lot of energy, trying hard, frustrations, reaching out, crying out for help, prayer, all these kind of things, right? But thank you. Thank you for that gift.
Of
Shout out.
course.
Shout out to Josh for that. I was borderline atheist before that summer, and after Josh's motivation, I was for sure way more into the path that I needed to be. So, for sure.
On a different note, of course, obviously, yes. But like, do you ever think about, like, I understand student managers, first years, one student manager, two first years, three first years in HQ, one-on-one, whatever it may be. Like, but why ruin a good thing? You know, what if we would have all lived together a second year and then a third year? You know, it's like the pros and cons. You know what I mean? How much do we produce? How much could have we produced if we all lived together? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How much, you know, not having to worry about training people, not to worry about, obviously, you know, you people will follow you, still have your Sunday meetings, that kind of stuff. But like, you know, if you have like a power HQ, two first year student manager, it's like, is it better to keep them together for a second year and let them keep growing and developing? Or is it better to let them then teach, you know?
That's a good point.
Especially, you know, when what, like, I'd like to know the statistics of, you know, how many first years actually quit, how many first years, you know, don't make it, you know, and then, you know, people, managers maybe didn't do as well, you know, let them take the first years, you know, let the people who sell continue to keep selling, let the people who mediocre, you know, let them take the first years, and the first years can follow the people who are doing well, you know, put those people in HQ that's centrally located so the rest of the org can follow them. You know, it's like, I'm not saying, you know, territory really matters or that kind of stuff, but you know, your environment that you're in definitely does. You know, I'm sure we can all relate to maybe an HQ that wasn't as ideal, wasn't as similar to our first summer. None of my HQs were as similar as my first summer. I'd say my second summer was probably as close to that as possible. But um, yeah, I don't know. I think it would be interesting to see if they, you know, one year did like you know, let's try it this year. You know what I mean? Let's throw all these people who are new or who have, you know, lived together, throw them together and see what happens.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about that thought of doing that. But then again, like, I don't know. I feel like Danny's success that first summer, like, I feel this sounds really egotistic, but like, I just feel like he needed to see me specifically as his brother, like, do well or like kick ass. So like, I wouldn't have wanted Danny to have been with someone else. You know?
I get that, but that's unique because he's your brother.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But we could have, like, they could have put us all into one HQ. Just add
Exactly. You know, throw one more person in there.
that would have been insane. I feel like Danny would have, like, I mean, he's ended up and he's still doing it. He's kicking ass.
I'm gonna step into this question. This is a great question. Thanks for bringing that up. So there's
this is good.
So this is one of those things, and it's interesting. So as I've gone through like the journey, you know, of life and business and stuff.
Yeah, you're 30 now, aren't you? You're old. You're 30, aren't
Yeah,
you?
I'm 35. Yeah.
You're not 35. Shut the fuck up.
No. This question's one that's come up in my mind. You know, just kind of going internally and figuring things out. So when I was in Southwestern at that moment, my interpretation of my reality was that yes, there should have been, in my mind now, it makes zero sense. I mean, you can make an argument, which is why the argument was made and done, that, you know, the concept that I was like sold was like, yeah, well, Steve, you've got some really up and coming leaders in Josh and Andres. And while, they're up and coming and they've got their powerhouses here, the rest of the organization's doesn't have those kind of players, and so we need to split up that nucleus so that we can really kind of like lead the whole group kind of, concept, right? And so I want to actually apologize to both of you guys, because I used to think that it was, my DSM and my director, it was their responsibility to have the right decision, the effective decisions, or implement the things, and it was my job to just to follow, right? So it's kind of like the order of command kind of thing.
Drinking the
And
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, don't think, just work. That's like a,
There's
that
no
was
there's
tough.
no room
Don't
to
think,
innovate.
just work, right? Yeah.
There's no need to innovate. This is how we've always done it.
Right?
Um,
Like Matt Atkinson said, if you buy a McDonald's, you don't try to recreate the burger, you just duplicate the McDonald's.
Exactly. But yeah, specifically on that, the other models that I've seen, right? So like the current business model that I'm in within Vivint, it's you build a team and then you grow with that team, right? So you're not just like having to rebuild from stage one, create all these different dynamics and reinvent, a new dynamic. Because we talked about this, how when I'm talking to Andres in the summertime, I got to learn how to talk in a very different way than when I'm talking to Josh, right? Different people.
Yeah,
I got to learn.
you have to baby Andres a little more.
I think there's still a little bit of this going on. I think guys, it was a while ago. Okay,
Still kicked your
life's
ass,
good.
bro.
Life's good for everyone.
People don't forget.
Forgive but never forget. But no, I think we're not going into the shouldas, shit all over ourselves, but I think it would have been a really beautiful thing to have kept the team together and to have grown inside the same space while empowering each other in the same powerful crew. Because I remember like even having conversations my third year, your guys' second year, on the phone calls like, hey man, it's different this year, right? The HQ is different.
Yeah.
How do we replicate that? It's tough. Different people, difficult. But yeah, so as far as like just like me releasing myself of that, to like ask your forgiveness of not stepping up and following through on what I knew inside me to be my truth, is that it would have been best for us to stick together. And I had that conversation, but I didn't go into the room, throw the desk, right? Take the Southwestern, math section, be like, well, if we're not doing anything logical, nothing happened. Like go crazy or anything.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't blame you by any means. Like, I mean, just like you, us, we followed the system that was set in place for the last 100+ years, and whatever works kind of thing. But yeah, if I had to look back on it, 100%. Our second summer, Iron Eagles org. We all lived together. If we recruited, we brought them with us. Maybe we weren't all in the same HQ, that kind of thing, but our environment spread, because it's no different than like, I'm not gonna go on this tangent. But essentially, when you bring someone else into the group who's not as strong, who's not as mentally focused, then I feel like that creates a stronger dissonance across the whole wavelength. You know what I mean? You're not all on the same page anymore. But if you can find a way to keep them all equal as much as possible, I feel like you're going to produce greater results, and you're going to be a stronger force altogether. So yeah, if I could do it again, I would say all of us either in the same HQ or second summer, and bring in Danny, bring in whoever else anyone recruited. If not, if we didn't recruit anybody, then, or we did recruit more people, then maybe 3 HQs between the 6, 7, 8 of us, but we stuck together because we created an environment that we needed to succeed. And if we can duplicate that, we duplicate that. You know what I mean? We do as much as
Yeah.
we can, but
Yeah.
trying to have all these outside influences. I'm trying. No, we shoot this way. No, shoot this way. It's like it doesn't mesh well. Like don't ruin something that is already
I
doing
missed. Yeah, I missed you our second and third year, Andres. Because I
Yeah.
know that we were.
The,
That was
the,
weird. That was weird not having you.
the fact that you weren't with us.
Oh, you guys were in the same HQ second time?
No, but you were in a
Not the
different
same-
org. You're a different org. You should have been in our org.
Oh yeah, I did go to a whole different org with Elena.
I-
Because you guys were with
Because you were co-org leader your second summer
that's right.
with Elena,
That's
which
right.
if I could do it again, because
That
you
was
know
a bad idea. That
we-
was a terrible idea.
we all have different strengths, we all have different weaknesses. You know what I mean? I think we can all acknowledge
Right.
all three of us have different strengths, different weaknesses.
Yeah.
You know, some better, some worse, whatever it may be. However, as a unity, the three of us, we all, I feel like, equaled each other out. I'd pick up Andres' weaknesses, he'd pick up my weaknesses, etc. So the fact of separating us, because we knew how we all operated. We knew what
Right.
we needed to be said to each other. We knew how to get results done with each other. So why spread that apart? I understand the concept of, oh, let's spread this goodness around. However, you're diluting it too much. You have too many other obstacles in there, which then you lost what was strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
Yeah, I
that
forgot about that.
that is
You guys,
something.
you guys were like more than anything. It's like you guys are my best. We're my best friends. Like
Yeah.
on the planet, right? So it's
Yeah.
like it was weird to like not be working with only be working with one of my friends, and I'm not living with my friends anymore, right? So I'm living in I mean we're like in different towns, so we're like hours away from
Yeah.
each other. Even me and Josh live close to each other, right? It's like I live in Omaha, Josh lives in Lincoln, we live close to each other,
Right. Yeah.
But yeah,
Right.
I think that was the biggest thing more than anything. The summertime is tough, and it's nice to have two brothers that I can count on.
Yeah. I didn't
'Cause
even I didn't even realize that, honestly. I just thought that was normal. But I didn't get it from your perspective because you guys were together. So to you guys, something felt off. To me, it just felt like this is what we just do. Because I was alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I do remember that. So it was my responsibility to sell more my second year than I did, and my experience of kind of that next year was Andres like got close enough to me because I didn't sell enough, and then it seemed like you wanted to do your own thing, because if I were you and I had sold 4,000 units, and my manager sold less than that his rookie year, and then barely edged me out my second year, yeah, I want to do my own thing too.
Right.
So I think
I think
Wait,
for me,
what are you trying to say?
I think what he's saying is like the attitude that I had was very much and understandably so was I kind of want to like fly on my own and like I equaled Steve, so I'm gonna try to like be separate. But I didn't think it was much of that in sales as it was in recruiting, because I think your team was small. I brought 6 people that my first year as a manager, which I didn't know was a lot until like I realized nobody else brought, like very few people brought 10, and most people brought less than I did. And
I bring any.
and I went to the President's Club dinner, and I was the way
Did
you
you?
win that, yeah, and the way you win that is
You at PC
either-
twice?
yeah. Bitch. Anyway, um, I hope that looked right in someone's thing.
I wish we could have.
get the
it-
plaque. Get the plaque.
I wish we could have an offset screen of someone getting splurged.
Anyway, no, but you win it because you hit PC twice or more, or you bring 5 people as an in-schooler, 10 people as a
I'm
full-time.
gonna be right back.
That's what you
Sure.
did.
And
You
and
brought
I did,
you brought 5 people.
and I was the only person at PC dinner who, or not the only person, one of the few people at PC dinner that brought both. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm ready to venture out. Like I've earned this to be myself. And so there was some of what Steve's talking about for sure. But the way I was sold it, you know, as from my managers was that that's what was supposed to happen, was that if you equal or if you outdo someone in recruiting, then you earn more of a stake in being like a co-OL or an OL or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I get that, but at the same time, I feel like the person has to be, you know, different people, different strengths. You know, if you were to be in that position when you were, I feel like, you know your weaknesses, you know your strengths. I feel like you have to have someone there with you to balance out your
Yeah.
weaknesses and your strengths, and you did not have that your second year, which
correct.
is
That's true.
why I believe, like, which could be reasons as to why certain things didn't go according to a plan. You know.
Right. Right. That's 100% true. What I'm saying is I didn't even realize that like that was going to be a problem until it was about splitting us up. I just thought that that's what you always did, because in my like I didn't know it until later on that I was like, oh shit, like that was probably not a good idea. And also I also remember that like there was an talk or option about how like people that worked better together, and at the time uh Elena was my OL, and it was either going to be uh, I don't remember how it all happened, but like just as far as like chemistry, it just worked out better that I went with Elena, just for whatever reason, because like of the managers and just like the teams and the sizes of the teams. I don't know. But it wasn't until like later in that summer that I'm like, we had like I think it was like week 4, and we had a phone call, we had a conversation on a Sunday afternoon, and I'm like, this isn't the same. This sucks. Like I don't like it at all. So uh that was an issue that probably shouldn't have been there. So you guys are completely correct.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you. I mean, you did a great job recruiting. I mean, you did your stuff. I just feel like, based on strengths and weaknesses of all three of us,
Yeah.
it would have been better off if we all stayed together, um, in the same orgs the rest of the way. Just because, like, even like, this may not be like, I feel like I could very confidently point out Andres. I can point out your 5 weaknesses and your 5 strengths. See if I can do the same thing to you, without a doubt. Like, there's not a lot of people I could honestly say I can do that. And shit, we don't. I mean, we don't all really hang out too much anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like we're talking on the phone every other day.
No.
Spitting stories. Like, Andres, I hadn't talked to you in 6 months, a
year.
year. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It's been a while.
Steve, every 3-4 months we have, an hour-long conversation, and that's kind of the gist of it. You know, so, but it was because our bond was so strong our first summer, that we all saw each other for who we truly were, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
So therefore, we were able to assist each other. And in times on the book field, it's not like it's an everyday, oh, just chilling. You know what I mean? Times on the book field, like, it's brutal. You're going through roller coasters of emotions. You're trying to teach kids, you're trying to teach yourself, you're trying to learn, you're trying to listen, you're trying to adapt, you're trying to have this positive attitude, you're trying to have this mindset of abundancy. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not an easy ride. So from a higher up position, you would think, let's try to make this as smooth as possible. You know, at some point, I don't know, I feel like you have to accept that some people are going to be naturally good at stuff, at certain things, some people aren't. So people can grow to be that. That's cool. But for the time being of what you have, let's focus on what the strengths are, and let's figure out how we can maximize that, you know, opposed to try to even out the playing field. It's same thing nowadays with, like, strength finders. I'm sure you guys have all taken that before.
Yeah.
Like, it's no longer about, oh, let's try to make this person as equally strong across the board. It's no, it's what are their strengths? How can we maximize their strengths? And I feel like that should have been a conversation, of how you organize an org and what managers you keep together, what managers don't keep together, etc. You know, like if I had to do it, like I would choose you two, Joel and Taylor.
Yeah.
That would be
We're, we're doing like the Facebook post, like who's in your top 5? It's like LeBron, Kobe.
but really like but yeah, I mean based on what orgs we had, you know what I mean, or based on what people we had, yeah, let's throw,
Team chemistry. Yeah.
exactly. It's
What's
yeah, go ahead.
what's interesting is my preference, I think, is I prefer not to be in the limelight. I prefer not to be actually teaching in front of people. So it's like where like the performance, being a comedian, being in front of like the spotlight, entertaining, like that's actually something that is a stretch for me. And I have to like go into a bathroom and like self-talk in the mirror, like, like I love being in front of people. So a lot of the learning to empower and set people up to be successful within like the different roles. I think that's something we definitely could have done to a pretty high degree. I think me and Andres needed to like wrestle a couple times to get out whatever was in the system. Maybe me and Josh were already doing that. It's probably all worked out. He'd put me in a headlock and then remind me that my ego's small again. I'm like, all right. But yeah, it would have been a fun. Maybe next thing we go give it a go again.
Yeah.
Let's go sell books
summer,
for a summer.
Next summer. Yeah.
It'd be kind of fun to do like a little like alumni summer off or something like that. I'd be interested in that, where you go when they go, all right, we're gonna go sell for 2 weeks, 100% commission. Or whatever.
I would not sell books again, but I'd be cool
and like
something else.
No, and like a different thing where it's like they brought us back to come go door to door and sell.
Dude, you guys can come do a blitz with some segues on the smart home security systems. 1 week sell off. You get a 2-day advantage because I've already done it, but it's the same thing.
As long as you provide the segues.
I got you.
No. I ain't going door to door.
I already told, dude, I miss door to door, man. I miss it. Like
I would go door to door, but not here. I'd want to go back to like New England.
Dude, I'm in Jacksonville
cool
for
anywhere.
a reason, guys. It's like it's like 70
cool
degrees out today.
Dude, I miss selling books. I don't necessarily miss certain aspects of it, but
let's talk about those.
What aspects I don't
Yeah.
miss.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, and before we talk about this, it should be said, Southwestern's come a long way since we were in Southwestern. So credit where credit is due.
It's been 5 years. I doubt they changed that much after
Oh,
100,
dude, the
100
culture's
same.
I've been tuning in because of Danny and staying connected. They've changed quite a bit.
All right, I'm
let's
not
talk
gonna
about this.
get down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I
Let's talk
mean,
about- back to
so things I would change.
that. Yes.
I would one, not make it seem like real world isn't the real world. You know what I mean? Like when you're in the book field, the perception, the atmosphere that's created is the fact of you are a cult. This is life. This is reality. Everything else is fake. Everything else is not true. You follow these principles and this is the way to the light. It's like you're joining like some, fundamentalist, denomination of some extent. It's I would have it where it's cool. This is what's going on. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, this is going on. This is affecting you. This is affecting me too, like this. But it's not about what's going on. It's about how you overcome it. It's like we were trained and taught to push everything else aside and focus on this. It's like in some regard I can see that helping, but for a long-term effect, you can't just hide these emotions. You can't just hide and push down these things. It's going to eventually, reveal itself.
Let's
It's
yes.
no.
Can I want to bring out let's talk about that. The concept of the idea of it's almost like suppressing, right? So there's like
Yeah.
talk, you can talk your way, there's this thing to deal with, right? This thing, this pain or this dissatisfaction, and the options are you can just sit in it and it sucks, probably not a great option, but it's on the table. There's you can go deep and find out what the source is of it. So like within Andres, did you went to did you go to MIT? Okay, so like there's like a discovery to the problem and dealing with it so you can free yourself. And then my experience of Southwestern was like
Bury it.
you're crying, stop crying, start thinking about something that's happy, think about sunshines and rainbows and puppies until there's no longer the sadness, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a little
Yeah.
bit.
That was exactly my point. That's something that I don't believe is a good life lesson. It's not a good way of, it's not a it's not a good life lesson. It's not a way you can effectively live life. It may work for a minuscule amount of time, for example, 3 months of a summer. However, that's not the way to live life. So I feel like teaching those principles is just a way to create soldiers, just a way to, you go out and bury your shit. You just go sell me some fucking books so I can make money. And then after the summer, you can deal with your shit. Good luck to your DSM and your student managers trying to handle that stuff. It's like that's not developing people. That's teaching people how to bury their shit to to achieve a a goal that's attainable within a short period of time, but not a lifetime. You know what I mean? It's like Southwestern so much has this mentality of developing people. Developing people is not teaching them how to bury stuff, teaching them how to, push stuff aside, like what you're told to. It's like self-talk the way out of it. I feel like as a student manager, or you have the concept of puking up. You know what I mean? I feel like it should be acceptable to be able to talk about what actually happened that day, what actually happened that week, acknowledge things about it, and then figure out, cool, how can we grow from it, opposed to having, you know, only pussies quit, only the weak quit. You know what I mean? What are you? Are you strong or are you weak? What is it? It's not so black and white. Andres, go ahead.
I think that was more a couple reasons for that. I agree, by the way, 100%. So yes, you're right. But as I'm thinking about it, I think that was even more the case your summers that you're a manager. Um, and the problem with that is that when you are a manager in Southwestern, you don't really get a chance to um, have a good PC, because in your first summer you get to PC with the manager, and your problems aren't really that. It's just your first summer, so you don't really have that much shit going on. You don't know as much about negative stuff. You don't have to deal with other first years and shit, and so you get to actually PC pretty well your first summer, in my opinion. But then when you go into like your management role, I don't remember ever having a good PC with any of the OLs that I ever was under once I was in my B summer up, like ever. And it's a problem because you're dealing with your shit and then like your two roommates shit, and then whoever you PC that weekend's shit, right? So then, and like anything else that might be going on in the org, like this person's gonna quit and this is why they're following you, and so now you in the middle of the week you have to PC some first year who's gonna quit, while you're trying to do your shit, so you're dealing with so many more not problems, but like just emotional stuff that like when you go PC that weekend with someone, it's the only person that you're PCing with is a person that knows even more about the shit that's going on in the org than you do. So it's like not a good like psychology, like or psychiatric thing, then all of a sudden the answer is deal with it and push it under and don't worry about it. What are the 3 positives? And you're like, what? This is insane.
Right?
So yeah, so I think it's because there's no good way for managers to PC. Like it's not like your first summer where you actually get to shit. And again, there's not as much shit. You're only dealing with your own shit, and you're talking to some manager about it, right? But your second summer, you're you're dealing with so much more. And nobody talks to you well about it. Nobody, and they don't give a shit. Like just deal with it. And you're like, okay, yeah, you're right.
That's so true. I
Yeah.
mean, because oh, go ahead, Steve.
I think it's important to my perspective of my time in Southwestern is kind of narrow because it's just from my own experiences within horse, within UNL, within I worked with Joel for a number of years, myself, and then that's like my experience, right? Besides sales school, which we also we share, the like the get backs, which we all share, like different but similar experiences. Um, but as far as like, I was just trying to like listen through the ears of if I was in another organization, I wasn't in other like parts besides force. So like, it's possible that
Other
it's
organizations
possible.
did it better.
Yeah. You know, or different. So I'm just throwing that out to the
To the
space.
listeners,
Yeah. You know,
to all
it's
those
like,
who are listening.
I'm
I
like,
mean-
is this fair? Because a lot of it resonates, and I'm like, is
Yeah,
this
no.
a
So
fair broad brush? I don't know.
So as you're saying this, I'm gonna bring this up. I have like the comments up that people are making, and
Sure.
people are asking about or like putting their input. So I'm gonna share some stuff. Larry Anderson was like, "Oh shit, I caught this live." So we have he's listening in. Dylan Barr brought up this point. He said, "You think people would also do better if they just had to have like 15 to 20 demos and then use their extra time where they would have been compulsively going to the next door to actually work through their emotions with each other or a manager, as in like just like if a manager's dealing with some shit that's going on, be like, hey, if you need to like take some time to like collect yourself, do that first.
Yes, 100%.
And then like it's okay if you don't get 180 demos this week, just fucking be okay.
100%. Yes, I feel like the schedule is so set on you have to hit this every day. If you did not hit this, you failed. You did not hit your 30 demos, you failed. You did not hit your 15 sit downs, you failed. You know, you're trained with that mindset and this reality of this is what's expected of you. And if you don't hit it, you don't achieve it, then you were a failure that day. You did not succeed. You cannot look in the mirror with confidence. You look in the mirror knowing that you did not achieve the goals that were set in front of you. However, you know, you can only sell, you know, because it is a sales job. It's not the person with the most amount of demos throughout the summer does not win an award. It's the person who sold the most. So whatever that person has to do, no matter what their personality is, no matter what their process is to achieve that is, in my opinion, the most important thing. You know, if Steve's had, you know, a rough week, I know Steve is a rock. Steve talks about how he's a rock, how he never fucking falters. Nothing can move him. You can come by with a fucking semi going 200 miles per hour and nothing's going to stop it. However, that's not true. Something is eventually going to move Steve. Something's eventually move me. Something's going to eventually move Andres. In a stronger person, weaker person, doesn't matter. So making sure that you are at the right mental and emotional state throughout this summer, throughout this process, throughout life is important. You know,
Yeah.
even on the day to day, let's go outside the book field. You know, in order to achieve what you want to do on a day to day basis, or if you're just living life coasting, you still have to be content with yourself and happy with yourself of what you're doing. So if that means you have to take time for yourself to unplug, to, you know, figure out what's going on with you and achieve it, then I think that's part of the growth that you can instill in somebody, you know, to become that next level of themselves. You know, then I know you run into the issues. Oh, then they get off schedule. Then what happens if they need to do that again and again? And it's excuses and excuses. Well, then, in my opinion, just let them quit then. You know, if they're at a point, if it's a first year who is, you know, taking time for themselves, cool. Take time for themselves, do your thing. But if they continue to do it, obviously in negative results, then that's a different story. That's a whole different scenario. But yes, for a student manager, for an OL, for anyone, yeah, if something is mentally and emotionally affecting you, then yeah, you need to figure your stuff out. Like, I'm gonna be honest right now. My second summer, I did well. I sold, I think, over like 4,600 units, which I think is decent summer. Not the best, not the worst. Um, I got off schedule twice. Both times I went to a fucking church. I remember I went to church. I laid on the fucking floor. I had my Bible out. I was praying, and even the fucking pastor came out and asked to make sure I was okay. I didn't know how to say this. My eyes get watery. Like I did what I do was for myself. Did I tell anybody about that? No, because I knew I would be looked down upon. Even
That's
my
okay.
my student manager, my org leader, someone would look down upon me because I had to figure my shit out. I was going through some stuff where I took 2 days back to back, 2 days back to back, and I went to a church that morning and all day stayed there. All day stayed there. I remember sitting outside the church on the stairs, eating my sack lunch, going back in there. I had to go to multiple churches because doors were locked. Doors were locked. I had to go to multiple churches, driving outside of my territory to find a church to sit and pray. And I needed that for myself, and it worked for me. But if I expressed that to somebody while I was on the book field, I'd be seen as a failure, someone who didn't do their job and let other people down. And I feel like that was fundamentally wrong. I feel like there has to be exceptions. Where you make those exceptions, that's the tough part. You have to. I think that's part of developing people.
Right.
I'll stop there.
On
I'd written down from earlier, this plays into an overall theme that I want to just talk about. So the idea of transparency, right, came up a lot in my experience of my micro experience within the Southwestern mega experience, right? And so that topic of like getting off schedule is like, borderline a sin in the book world, right? If you talk to a human about it that's not up, then like you're demonized, like you're intentionally trying to sabotage the entire organization. What you're talking about with the like hide from the cops kind of thing instead of like be there. And we didn't even have were you guys there when we didn't even have like Southwestern branded clothes? It's like trying to like pretend like we're not even like part of the company. We're just like an educational company. Like, don't say you're from Southwestern. It's like weird, right? So the overall concept, and it's not like it's there's only, I don't believe in like the good and bad, right? It's like perspective. It's differences depending on what you want. And obviously if you have so like the good stuff on that, right, is when I was in this micro blinders, so it's like literally blind, right, to the things around me, intentional blinders that were put on. I didn't know that, the student manager I was living with was off schedule until the end of the summer. I didn't know that off schedule was a thing until I heard about like people go to movie theaters during the day and they didn't combust. Like, whoa. I'm like, whoa. But this idea of like the pros and the cons is transparency, lack of transparency, the hiding, that don't talk about things, right? Don't, what comes to mind, Josh, when you're talking about like needing to go pray, it's like the implication that we should all be sinless, right? We should always be 100%, and anything that's short of that is not acceptable, and it's not talkable. You're not allowed to talk about it. Is transparency a value of Southwestern when we were there? Maybe it's,
It wasn't.
No, I don't think it was. My thoughts on that, and this is like I think the same on the same note, but kind of leave like even more forward on. not just specifically to one summer, but like the idea that there was people who going into the next summer that we had recruited, or that were B's or C's that were coming back, that you could obviously tell mentally were not in a good place to come out to the summer, and they still came out.
Right.
Like that was one thing that I'm like, and I think this is so out of all the podcasts we've done, there's only been 2 people out of like, and other people that I've talked to about the podcast that like that said that they left one summer too late. That like most of them have said we should have left. Like I sold 4, I should have left after my second, like, or whatever. Like one summer too late that they stayed for the most part. And I think part of that is because it happened to all of us. I think that there's a person that should not have gone out that went out. They got talked coming back one more time, and that one was even worse mentally. And then they go, no, there's no fucking way, and that's why they left. Like most people, I feel like that's the thing. On that same note, that because you're not allowed to just like really beef or like I mean, and there's like they like have like, hey, we're gonna have this conversation where you like your shit list and your whatever, and then you like say all the things that, but there's still something like in your pride that doesn't let you admit like that you fucked up. Not after my 3rd summer, that's what happened. I was way off schedule my 3rd summer. I went to the movies. I was hanging out with people for all day, like just way off schedule. Not good. Because not good from the standpoint of like, I was lying about it. Like I could have just been like, yeah, I'm off schedule. And they're like, oh shit, well, okay, you should go home or something, right? I never admitted it. I lied about it. That's where it was bad for me. But still, the fact that I was scared to let go because I was going to be judged, that was what I was scared of. That I was going to get judged if I told them I was off schedule.
Right. And that's so true. But you talking about your shit list and not be able to admit it is because it's so instilled upon you that you do this and you succeed, or if not, you're a failure. You're a loser to me. You have lost all respect. You have lost all credibility because you can't be human.
Yeah.
You can't have fault. You can't have error. You can't show weakness. If you do that, then you're no longer accepted. And here you've devoted so much time in the summers, out of summer, going to Nashville, going to training seminars, doing weekly meetings throughout the school year, recruiting people. You're bought in. You're drinking the Kool-Aid. You're in it. So you're so afraid to be shunned, be ridiculed, be, looked down upon. And especially when the people who are above you are people that you don't necessarily respect or agree with, how they handle things, how they've dealt with situations. So then you have even less motivation, less desire to share those truths with them, because it's not someone that you feel like you can honestly speak to. And that's the culture of Southwestern. That's the culture that is created. And like Steve said, that was our culture. That could be different for someone who was in JYD, someone who worked under whoever may be, but that's how it was for us, and for for better or for worse, that's how it was dealt. Because even like you're saying, if I could go back, if I knew things were going to stay the same, I would have left after my 2nd summer, not after my 3rd, not after my 4th. After my 2nd summer, I would have left.
Yeah.
Because my
I'm in the same boat. I think that's something that was actually more specific to Force than it was to the rest of the company.
I'm still listening.
Yeah, based on the conversations that I've had on this podcast with other people from other organizations, it seems that specific kind of like, I mean, it was definitely a theme in the company, but it was especially bad in Force. So yeah, I'm not gonna say like, because other people can relate to this as well that were outside of Force. But it was especially bad in Force. Now, that being said, I think that is why when Danny took over Force, that like it was dwindling down to how it was. I don't think it was anybody's fault that happened. I think it was just like the natural progression of the way that Force got developed. I don't think it was anybody's fault. I don't think it was Yvette or Grant.
It's my fault.
No, it wasn't. But
My
let's preface that with what Andre said. as we say this, we're not attacking anyone specifically.
Yeah,
We're not saying anyone's fault. Everyone, as I said probably 10 times already, everyone has their strengths or weaknesses, you know, and some people are better at certain things.
Way to wash your hands, bro.
Yeah.
Anyway, uh,
And what I mean by that
Hand
is
sanitizer,
just
bro, right here.
from like this is where I'd done a lot of contemplating over the years of different places, whatever, how I showed up, how I didn't show up, all these kind of things. From a place of responsibility, it's like, okay, well, if I'm talking with my two guys from Southwestern, they're saying something very similar to that I'm saying. That's my experience. Well, I probably had a little bit of influence to do with that, right? So it's like there's good and there's
No,
bad,
but here's the
I
thing.
would.
and that's okay. I'm not
Not for
taking
sure what
like
happened.
a
Give me a
personal
second.
beat up, but it's like, okay, well, if we're having a similar experience about what is okay to say, what resonates with me is like, okay, then is different than now, but then I was that person that was like, there's no room for excuses, like,
Right. Yeah.
there's only committed and not committed. It's like almost
Well-
like speaking in absolutes.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. Now,
Exactly, right?
Now-
That's what I'm saying. We were in
Now-
the Force. We weren't
Okay,
the Jedi, dude. We were
No,
the
no, but
Force.
hold
All
on,
right,
hold on, hold on, hold on.
Andres, you say yours, and I'm gonna say mine.
So first of all, I don't think it's fair to say it was someone's fault. I don't think it was anybody's fault, but it was everyone's problem. Like somehow this culture kind of got created in the Force, and it just by the time that it got really, really bad was like I think our second and third summer, Josh, because like something happened where we went from like our first summer, and I think this was kind of also company wide, which is I think it's changed a lot because there was think about this. I sold 4,200 units my first summer. I was number 9. Hannah Reesberg was number 1, and she sold 6,600 units. My summer after that would have beat the first summer, would have been number 1, almost I think, with maybe the exception of one of every summer since. Like the production of first years went down like for a while there. Something happened in that culture of like people were like leaving because all sorts of different reasons that were toxic, and which like, well, I think a lot of people relate to the things that we talk about, but something happened and it just got bad until like people who stepped up. That's why I give credit to Danny a lot, because like I still meet his kids, and I still like I get to watch and experience some of his meetings and stuff because I hang out with him and his kids hang out with him, and like the way that they feel about Southwestern, that vibe of like if you leave you're a fucking loser and you're just like a failure. There's probably some of it in general in any company, like right when you're like in this like giant great culture. So that's fine, but it's totally different. Like the kids and my brother leads respect him. And it's a loyalty thing. Like they know they could go work somewhere else. They know that they could probably go make money, more money somewhere else, but they're sold on his vision and on his drive to help people, and like they're a lot more loyal for in a healthy way, right? And so like I think that that's changed a lot in the company, I should say, but there's no mistaking that when we were in it, it was definitely like because I remember even like when people left, we would like jokingly like but half seriously be like, haha, they're no longer with us, as in like they're dead to us,
Right?
and we
Yeah.
kind of meant it, and like
That's
we
so true, though.
we were all to blame. I mean, it wasn't like it was someone's fault specifically. It was just kind of like the way it was, and that's a shitty reason for it to be. So yeah, that's important to admit, but that's just the way it was. I feel like.
Yeah, but Steve, going what you're saying, I don't fault you at all. Like in retrospect, dude, I know you say, "Oh, I could have gone there, flipped the table, ripped up the map, blah blah blah." You were in the view of Southwestern, you were a child. You were a little kid. We were babies. You were a toddler, 5 years old, Yvette, teenager, Grant, 20s, and then went up from there. But like that was the seniority. You know what I mean? You were you were so small regarding like the overall view of things, where I would never expect a 5-year-old to be able to stand up to the 30-year-old and be like, no, this is not how we're going to do things. We're going to change it like this. You know, you were a victim to the society within it. And you may think otherwise. You may believe that you were instilled this higher power to be able to speak up and be able to say X, Y, and Z, that you should have stood your ground, you know, and fought for what you believed in. But you were just a kid. You were learning the way we were learning. You were taught what we were taught. You could only do so much with the knowledge that you had at that time. And I would never, ever blame you for way things went based on orgs or based on how a thing was brought down. You know, you handled things the way you believed was the best way at that time, and you trusted the
Yeah.
people above you to handle that for you. So like that's something that I would never put on you at all whatsoever. So I really hope you don't look back on that and think, oh, if I would have done better, oh, if I would have done this, we could have done that.
Yeah, no,
It's like,
I appreciate you saying all that, Josh. I don't I don't hold on to that like it's like I'm not beating myself up about it. Just in my reality, I basically had two options. One of them is keep following what I believe that's in my heart and my soul and my spirit and keep on doing that, or stop because I'm afraid of how it looks like or that I'm a toddler, you know, and I just made a choice. So I appreciate you saying that. I don't like put blame or put fault on myself. I might have used that word on accident. But I think it's important for everyone to remember and recognize that if you have a voice, and I think this is more important right now in the world than ever before, potentially. If you have a voice, you can use it. And so it's like, speak your truth. Thanks for saying all that. I do take ownership of what I did and didn't do, though, but I'm not going to let it beat myself up. If that makes sense.
sounds good.
It is it is important to also recognize that part of the toxic part of the culture was only also a part of it, because another part of it on the flip side of that, in a positive way, like the people were fucking awesome to be around. So there was a part of you that like had like this fear of missing out in a positive way of like, man, like it's gonna suck to like not be able to like go to sales school with people, or to just, because like Josh, the way this whole conversation started is you miss selling books. They're like, there's aspects of selling books that were freaking amazing. Like I've never then the company I'm just started working with right now, I'm starting to experience similar vibes, but like of like this culture of just super positive, growth minded people. And which was infectious to be around. I mean, I remember being, for example, we'd hang out after that first summer. We hung out. You guys, like Steve said, we were best friends, right? And it was so positive and it was so fun. And we teased each other and it was fun. Maybe a little more lax on the upbeat all the time, but then we got real with each other. And then I would go hang out with like friends from like soccer or friends from whatever, or high school even, and it just was different. Sometimes in a bad way. Like my friends from high school, it was fun and like cool to catch up with the old boys, you know. But sometimes I hang out with people from like class or something, and they were so fucking nag. They were so unimpressive. Like they were just so not like, oh, you're, and no offense to anybody, but like you got nothing. You're a rich person. You grew up rich and you joined a fraternity, and now you're the president of the fraternity, and you never like had to like eat shit, and so you're not interested. Like, you're boring, and so they're great people. Those are great people too. That's how you just felt at the time, because then you would go hang out at like a get back and fucking meet these amazing humans, and so then everybody else kind of became stale, and that's maybe even another like not so positive thing. But it was just so infectious to be around people who were just so positive all the fucking time. I remember going to GRS and I was like, I didn't care about meetings, even though the meetings were good. I cared about like getting lunch with people from Estonia and being like, what the fuck are you guys doing? What's up? Like, just being around that group of people was such a contagious thing that it was hard to also walk away from that positive aspect of it, you know? I don't know.
Yep, and I hear you, and I'm not dissing on the people of Southwestern. You know, the no one's gonna argue with you that the people of Southwestern are fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Of being around people who are so inspired and so driven, and people who are so almost whole, you could say. You know what I mean? It's the it's more so the process and the handling of things that I feel like we all have
Yeah.
similar
Attitudes.
attitudes towards. You
Yeah,
know.
I agree.
But not to be a pain in the butt, but I got 30 minutes. I have to leave here at 7:30.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh,
7 o'clock. We've been on this call for 2.5 hours. So
Oh yeah.
I got one. I wanna throw a monkey wrench out real quick into
Yeah.
the thing real quick. Then, so I just have so it's kind of a question. So there's kind of a thesis I got behind the question, but to what extent do you think the financial opportunity of it not being like, if we can talk numbers for a second, right? Because there's like this bubble, and we're promoting people, on these success stories that you've got people, you can call it whatever you want, internship, job, program, exchange program. But you've got an opportunity that's like, it's I got a badge that, of honor, this laminated, award that, says I work like over like 84 whatever hours a week, right? And for at the end of that, the average person is like making, the company statistic of the 8,700, that was the exact 8,700 in the 5 years that I was there. That's crazy how like,
stayed the same.
Numbers stayed the same. And I was like trying to like figure out the numbers. They didn't always add up. I think that's back to like a transparency question. But how much do you think the lack of a financial opportunity plays into the things of like, the default is you need to be working every single day, no breaks, don't talk about anything negative, get back to the door, self-talk over it, don't have time to do it? Because if you don't, then you come out of the summertime owing money or making $5,000 profit that you're taking home, when there's there's a lot of opportunities out there that are door to door that do teach character building from the progress. It's not like Southwestern has this monopoly on like personal growth, right? It's like the dogma that only thine who has sold books will ever achieve anything in life, right?
Yeah, that
And so,
was also.
because when we're talking about I just remember the like recommended schedule was like when we're doing like the corporate recruiting thing, right? It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy how many hours. It's like, I love working hard. I love it. That's what I love. Like any kind of challenge. I love that stuff. The opportunity for growth for sure. But it's like at other opportunities that I've found, there's like an encouragement to like look outside, to like keep other options open, right? Like go explore, go check out other opportunities, go do everything.
Yeah.
But it just felt so much that when I was in Southwestern, again, my micro experience was like every other opportunity is horrible. You're crazy and actually stupid for like thinking you could ever find a faster way to, whatever your version of success is, than running around with books on your back, knocking door to door, 14 hours a day. When if we're just talking about industry to industry, there's a lot of door to door jobs out there, almost all of which make more than like a Southwestern rep. And I've met amazing people in all different industries that have learned very similar things with positive speaking, positive talking, life growth, working on, physical being, spiritual being, relationships, all the things. How much do you think the lack of the financial opportunity really filters into this culture of like needing to keep people instead of, help them get to where they want to be in life?
So I guess what are you asking? Are you asking like, do we believe because you get paid so little for all your effort that that's gonna detract people from staying with them? Are you referring to just as college students, or are you referring to people on their fourth, fifth, sixth summer after they graduated staying with Southwestern?
There's a lot of opinion in my question, wasn't there? um, I guess on a scale of 1 to 10, how good is the financial opportunity at Southwestern? 10 being like there's no better opportunity in the world. You've made it. There's no reason to look any further. And like a 1 being, I don't know, whatever your least favorite job is you've been at.
I'll take this one. I think it depends. It depends. I think that the issue isn't necessarily the how good it is. It's just how good it is for the people at the entry level, which is most people. For example, my brother makes pretty good money, you know, in his organization with selling books. But he's like a DSL now. He's a DSM. Whereas like maybe I would say someone in between like first summer, second summer, because you're not recruiting into your first summer, so it's also pretty decent. Like I made 20 grand. That's not bad for even the number of hours I worked. It was worth it. Still, I'd say. But then like as a manager, the time that you spend recruiting, and if your team flops and then you don't sell that well, like that's a huge dip. That's for sure not worth it. And you worked, like for example, my second summer I dropped units. I still sold like 3,700, 3,600, something like that. So I still made some money, but it was definitely not a positive year. Even because Danny was the only one that really did well. So I would say that was completely not worth it at all. And this, which is like why I think I should have left then. So I'm like, fuck it. I didn't make as much money. I'm out. I didn't grow. But then like some people make really good money. And I think the skill in Southwestern to succeed is not sales. It's recruiting.
Correct.
Like Zach Griesberg made really good money and did not sell over 5,000 units.
And when we're talking about these, just for definition, because the terms like really good and good, they're not a number, right?
Right. I would say relative to how much effort he put in, Zach Griesberg made pretty good money with how much work. I mean, he wasn't busting it. I mean, he sold 2,000 units, I think, that one summer. No offense, Zach. That's not a bad thing. I don't care. It's just more like or look at Grant. Like Grant made a ton of money. And he was smart with his money as well. But like Grant made a lot of money. And towards the end, he wasn't ever recruiting. He wasn't like, so in Grant's perspective, it was fantastic. Right. And because he recruited well at the beginning, like it's all about recruiting people. That's a problem. You get sold on units, and units are so important that they should really like not give a shit about how much you sell and care about how much you recruit. Like units should not matter. Recruits should be the only thing that matters. In fact, everything should be incentivized towards recruiting. In fact, when working with Primerica, that's the great thing about it. Everything's incentivized to recruit. So they make a big deal about it recruiting. And that's the problem Southwestern does, is they don't teach people to recruit well. I mean, they don't innovate with recruiting. How the fuck is it possible that you're still passing out questionnaires? Like it's.
So I really want to dig into this real quick, because I know we're a little bit shorter on time. So like in door-to-door industries, right? Making 20 grand to 40 grand over the year is like failing. And in Southwestern, if you're getting 20 to 40 grand at the end of the summertime, like you're balling, right?
Okay, let me ask this: how long is your selling season? Like you're talking about all year, right? I'm
deliberately wanting
Not
to
giving
make
numbers.
it. Say again?
No. I'm asking, like, you're saying that like in the door-to-door industry, if you make like 40 grand, that's shit a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
that's because are you
roofing,
selling all year?
solar,
Sure.
security.
So, okay,
Sure.
So let's take solar. Solar is selling all year. If you make $40,000 in 1 year, that's shit. But you gotta remember, they're only selling for 12 weeks. Right?
All right, so Steve doesn't want to throw out numbers. Steve doesn't
No,
want to. No. Don't. It's fine.
Yeah.
Fine. So
I'm delicately dancing around.
yes, I get it. I get why you're doing it, etc. So I'll answer this way, which I feel like this is probably the answer you're looking for. for working my first summer, working 80 plus hours every week, my my net profit was like $3,000, and I sold like 3,000 units. Not a lot of money to walk away from, knowing that I worked 80 hours a week. If I was a fucking bartender back home, I would have made way more fucking money working those same hours.
Right. Right.
And then you
Absolutely.
factor in recruiting for as many hours in days
Yes.
and phone calls that you make while recruiting, and the sacrifice you give up while recruiting, into all being a big gamble of, I hope this person sells maybe 1,000 units and I'll make maybe $5,000 off them, not factoring all the time I went from training them to recruiting them and all the people I knows I had to go through to get this one yes. Then no, I feel like your pay is not equal to what you got.
I agree.
Our fourth summer, Steve, fuck that, dude. Fuck all of that. We fucking went to a new school with no fucking help. And I will say that loud and proudly, with no help, just you and I. And I gave up, I quit school to go do that. Like, I had to take a $6,000 loan from you just to be able to afford housing while we're in Manhattan, Kansas. And I mean, I look back on it, I feel like we worked hard. I feel like we made phone calls each night. We did our best to set up appointments. We worked with the different programs there on campus. Like, we went on runs all the time with our first years, that kind of stuff. Our first years fucking sold shit. You know what I mean? I feel like we're both, you and I, both individual, and together, intelligent, well-spoken, hardworking individuals. We did the best that we could with what we were given. And to walk away from a whole semester of recruiting, of paying all of our rent, all of our gas, dropping out of school, and getting nothing from it, because half the first years quit within the first 3 weeks. I think I brought like eight or nine first years that year, and I think at the end of the summer I had one first year, and he sold I think 300 units. So no, not worth it. It's a really big gamble, but it's not necessarily the gamble of it. It's the fact the thing that I still am kind of bitter about, to be honest with you, goes back to the same idea that you are brainwashed, you are driven to this idea. Oh yeah, it's a good idea to drop out of school, to go recruit for a semester, and build your team so you can make more money. Where in reality, it was not a good decision for me. It was something that I should have stayed in school, graduated because that was my last semester, and moved on from there. But you're put in this perception, this mindset of, oh yeah, they're really good people. They just start recruiting. They just drop out. They just start recruiting. They do this. At least is that's how I took it. You know what I mean? Someone else may have taken something differently, may have done that, but it's like I was only being a good servant, a good person, if I
Yeah.
fully
That
if I fully recruited, because the people who fully recruit, those are the people who are really committed. Those are the people who are really doing the right thing, the what we're proud of. And looking back on it, I wish I could wipe that whole thing away. Like, I don't feel like I really grew from it. I don't think I learned a lot from it. I feel like that was just a disaster after disaster after disaster. Honest, if anything, it it ruined some of our relationship as people. You know what I mean? It put a big bridge in our friendship, and it wasn't your fault. It wasn't my fault. It was the circumstance that we were put in. And I feel like I truly do. Like, I don't look back on that and think like, oh yeah, well, we fucking didn't work. Like, no, we worked. We did those phone calls. We did those questionnaires. We walked up to those teachers. We did everything we were told to do, and we followed the book of what we're supposed to do, and it didn't pay out. And some people may say, oh, well, you didn't do it right. Oh, you're a pussy for complaining, or you're a little bitch. Oh, you're this is et cetera, et cetera. Say what you fucking want to say. Like, I worked hard. I did what I thought I was supposed to do, and it did not turn out. It's
Yeah.
it's not turning out at all.
Yeah. There's what I'm saying. A couple things on 3 things on that. What I'm saying is that's 100% valid and true. For you, it fucking sucked, and so it wasn't. But then just for you, there's like probably another person that we can point to in the company in the history that did the same thing you did and made a ton of money, like
Right?
relatively. Now, what I think, what to answer Steve's question is, I'll say it this way: my brother makes good money relatively to the median income of the United States of America. Okay, we'll just put it that way. However, at the same time, if he put that amount of effort into the company I work at, Primerica, Vivint, whatever, if he did that exact same thing, built the same culture in another company, he would make way more money. I still am not familiar with the pay structure at self-publishing school, but with Primerica, I'm way more familiar. And I can guarantee you, if Danny did what he was doing with the number of kids that he did, relative production match numbers and ratios or whatever, he'd be making $800,000 a year right now, aiming to $1 million next year, no doubt. Like, do the math. And so, again, relatively to how much people make at a regular job, people I know who work at a 9 to 5 and make 40 grand a year, not bless their soul, it's a good job, 50 grand a year benefits. Danny makes way more money than that a year, way more, right? But relative to how much he could be making with the same amount of effort somewhere else, no, it's not as good. I don't know if that answers your question. Where it's like,
So we're talking about you're talking about an outlier, right? So you're talking about a DSM,
right? That's one.
makes
Yeah,
good money, right? And so Danny's worked at Southwestern how many years?
8 summers.
8 summers, cool. And so it's like so for industries, right?
Yeah.
So to not be vague and talk numbers, right? So there's different kinds of sales, whatever. I'll just speak on the ones that I know about personally. I know that shout out to Nick Warner. He had made somewhere between like 70 and 80, to my best knowledge. We can fact check that. As a rookie, first year, right? That's not like managing like a DSM and organization with myself and Vivint, myself and other guys going out their rookie year, clearing 6 figures, 100, 140 grand first year. And we're talking about a schedule working. You talk about schedule, man, Southwestern's tough, man. I don't know if I could if I needed to, if the world was ending, we make things super serious. Yeah, I'll figure something out. But the schedule for a lot of these industries, roofing, solar, cable, the schedule is like you go out, you're not up at 5:59 knocking on the door by 7:30 in the morning. It's like you're up, you have a lifestyle, right? So you like up, you're reading, you're eating, you're working out, you're hanging out, you're going over goals, you've got time for stuff. You go out in the afternoon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then you work until it gets dark, right? There's a lot of industries like that. And then you put in different, package sizes, right? But it's pretty common for a lot of the door-to-door industries that you make $1 grand or $2, a day, and that kind of lifestyle. And those, if we're comparing like as close to as possible as far as like the summer schedule, yeah, I think the pest, depending on markets, warm, cold, solar, smart home security. It's very similar, like the summer sales, like travel thing. Most of Utah is just like Salt Lake City is like the sales, door to door, summer sales, epicenter of the country. And it's like when you get into the circles of people that are still hustling just as hard, maybe not even as hard as people in Southwestern, actually positively not as hard as people in Southwestern, and they're making 7, 8, 9, 10 times the amount. There's a noticeable difference, is my experience, between the stage that Danny's at, right? He's at the freedom stage. Poverty mindset, no longer there, because life's good, right? He's, life's good. The food, roof, enough to like invest in the houses and, get the things. But for a lot of the a lot of the guys that are working, rookie year, I mean, even you guys like working hard your rookie years, right? Being very, very at the top of the thing,
Of the spectrum.
spectrum. Yep. And then still a lot of guys that are at the top 10%, top 20%, they're still working part-time jobs come the school year.
Mhm.
Right. And so it's like, now I'm saying I'm shedding light specifically on this one thing, because don't get me wrong, without Southwestern, the toughness, the grittiness, self-talk, waking up, reading Og Mandino in the morning, those scrolls of success, getting in the habits of successful mentalities, right? And habits, the power of habit, 30 days to form a habit. These things I brought with me for sure. They're not the only place, Southwestern's not the only place that teaches this stuff, right? It's not like they're, you go down the, we get like a list of the United States presidents since 150 years ago. And it's like Southwestern grad, Southwestern alumni, Southwestern alumni. It's not the case, right? So I guess what really is,
I get what you're saying.
I wish there was my experience, my individual experience is I wish I was encouraged by my leaders, managers, to like learn about other stuff, check out other opportunities. And, I see you talk about like Danny, I mean, as your brother, right? You must think probably every day you think about it, be like, man, what Danny could do for him and his people, because Danny's fine, but imagine if all of Danny's guys, they were making the kind of money that Danny was making this year. That would be cool, right? That would change a lot of lives.
Right.
And there'd be a lot of growth there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like this, that it's, for people listening in, I mean, there's this like this invisible veil between the, like I said, when I raised my hand, like, yeah, drink the Kool-Aid. I love that Kool-Aid. It's great Kool-Aid. I like it. I loved it. But there's this invisible veil. It's like the Southwestern bubble, and the words like really, really good income and stuff. If we're talking like percentages, like 8x, 9x, 10x, not just for the people at the top, but it's like to have abundance for everyone that's walking in the door day one. I don't think it's realistic for someone to walk into Southwestern, day one and go out and make, 50, 60, 80, 100, 150. Their first summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. The money opportunity definitely is not as good, for sure.
And so I want, since it's the uncensored page or whatever, I just want to, like I said, I believe in the transparency side. So I'm just bringing transparency to the page.
That's fair.
It's true. I agree with that.
That's fair. So, okay. So we got 7 minutes before we got to close up this motherfucker. So
sorry. It's been fun, but I could do this longer actually. If it wasn't for New Year's Eve and having
we gotta hang up more often.
We should do this again. Well, it's a special episode because we didn't even get to share like funny pony stories. But
yeah, we haven't shared stories.
Open invite, real quick invite. February 28th in Jacksonville, there's going to be a Spartan race on Saturday. On Saturday, and I won't believe you. On Saturday, it's a 10K. Pretty like you're going to be carrying around like 50 pounds of like sandbags kind of thing. On Sunday is the 5K version. That's still like 20 something obstacles, a lot of fun, rolling through mud, climbing ladders, human pyramid kind of things, trying to help each other up. It's going to be awesome. Everyone's invited. I'm similar to this. I want to create things that bring people together. And
I'll
open invite.
Okay,
excuse to get in shape, get to the gym again.
Okay, all right. Hold on. Let's make these 7 minutes count. And like I need a good story. And I feel like the best story to make these 7 minutes count is we need Josh Martinez's poop story.
That's my second summer.
I don't care. We need this needs to be told.
I don't know if I can tell this one anymore.
I don't give a shit. This is literally I give a shit. I need you to give
us
a shit.
Give us the juice, Josh. Just the magic
This
sauce.
is an amazing story.
Speaking of
I've got 2
juice,
pens ready in case one of them melts. Let's go.
I don't know, man. It's it's just a typical day, average day out in the book field, selling books, going door to door. I came across this one family, super cool. They bought some books, and the dude gave me a sandwich. Um, ate the sandwich. I was hungry. It was tasteful. Um, but it was leaving their house, and I was heading to a different area. So it was on either like a highway or an interstate, but just a highly trafficked road. And it was out of nowhere where it just hit me where I had to take a shit. And it wasn't one of those where like, oh, I can try to pinch it off, like it'll be fine. It was an instant, full out, like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like your body starts sweating, your heart's racing, you're driving and like you're sitting up, like pinching it because you have all this pain and all this like energy just wants to just release itself. And you have all this buildup inside of you.
Steve's eating.
So, so I'm on this highway, this interstate, and I eventually just say, fuck it, man. I can't do this. I pull off the side of the road, so I'm in like the whatever outside of the lane is, whatever that lane's called. I'm sitting in that guy right there. I fucking climb my back seat. I open that Southwestern lunchbox, dude, and I fucking just sprawl right there on it, dude. And I just fucking start releasing. It's just fucking sprays, man. Fucking Niagara Falls coming out of my ass, just right there, fucking spray. And I'm like holding both sides of my car right this, and I fucking had to start pissing too. So I have to grab a fucking water bottle, one I'm drinking out of, and fucking hold my dick in it while I'm fucking pissing and shitting nonstop. And my most vivid memory is the fucking semi going by my car, shaking my car because it's such like a fierce force going by. And I'm like trying to keep my balance while I'm shitting, dude. And dude, when I fucking stand up, there's shit all over my backseat. Like I didn't make it fully in my fucking lunchbox. Like there's some in there for sure. And weirdly enough, like I kept it. I kept it for like a week for like proof, being like, listen, dude, this shit actually happened. This physical shit happened. I remember showing Ethan. Ethan's like, what the fuck is that? And yeah, dude, it was nasty. I had to use.
Oh my
I remember
God.
I had to use old because that was back when there was manual orders. I used
Yeah.
order sheets to wipe my ass. Like it was the grossest thing ever. I remember luckily I had leather seats, so like it washed out okay. But my fucking car smelled like shit for
I
all
remember.
like the rest of the fucking summer. And I remember going back when I delivered their books and asking them like, "Hey man, did you put something in my sandwich? Did you like fucking drug me with some like some nasty shit medicine?" And they're like, "Nah, man." I told them like, dude, I'd take the worst shit ever after eating that sandwich. But yeah, I mean that was a story. Just shit in the backseat of my car on the book field.
Oh man,
Fucking sprayed it everywhere. So
that is
yeah,
insane.
I mean
Oh man.
probably not as epic as someone expected, but
No,
yeah,
that's a great story, bro.
that's
That is
that's what
such a
happened to
funny.
me. That was my second summer.
The only poop story that I know better than this is Mitch Johnson's poop story, which we're gonna share that. We're gonna try to have him on the podcast and share that sometime. But yeah, the poop stories are hilarious. Thank you for sharing that. Perfect timing for our last few minutes here. So yeah, man. Well, let's just start wrapping up. Appreciate you guys so freaking much for being on here. It's a fun thing. COVID really got me lonely, and I'm super extroverted. I needed to reach out and connect with people, and this has been a great way to do it. And so yeah, I wanted to thank you both for doing this. I think up a couple of announcements. You guys feel free to say whatever you want to say, closing remarks, and then I got some announcements to share. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Steve-O.
I thought it was a funny shit story.
It was so good.
Thanks, man.
So good.
Nah, I guess I don't know. I love you guys. I miss you guys. Yeah, thanks for setting this up. All in all, yeah, thanks for their having on. It's fun to just kind of reminisce, talk about the stuff, kind of go into, the whole experience, that kind of thing. All in all, yeah, Southwestern, 5 out of 5. The whatever the rating, thing. Learned a lot, grew a lot. Glad for the experience, the relationships that I still have from it. Yeah, they 100% delivered on the experience and learning and growth, and being able to cash in the experience tokens into like real currency post Southwestern.
Right. Yeah.
And if anybody wants to work for Vivint, give Steve a call.
Steve a call. Yeah. Josh, any
I,
closing
I thought you were
remarks?
gonna say that. I thought you were gonna throw it in there.
Nah, I'm here hanging.
Hanging.
Any closing
No,
remarks, Josh?
yeah, man, it's a good time. I wish we didn't have a expiration date on this little podcast. I would have enjoyed continuing with our conversation. I think we had some good talks, and I want to emphasize once again, no fault to anyone specifically over anything. It's everyone does the best they can with what they're dealt at that time. Everyone can always look back and think I could have done this, could have done that. But, at the time you believe you're doing what is best, and, and someone still may believe that, and that's totally fine. But, for better or worse, we are where we are, and I wouldn't change a thing. I'm happy with the memories that I've experienced with the people I've met, both of you guys, obviously, and many others. No, Andres, thanks for doing this. I'm not gonna lie, when you first told me about this, I was like, oh, this is gonna be stupid. What are we doing here? But no, this was fun. I actually haven't watched an episode yet, but I want to go back and watch them all and give you a like on YouTube, and I hope this continues to grow for you, man. This is cool stuff. So thank you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Oh man, it means a lot. Well, we're gonna have to have you guys on again just to share some more of that summer and some actual pony stories. So, but for sure, it's been a pleasure having you. I was looking forward to this one a lot because I knew it was going to be a little special because of that crazy summer that we had. So, good stuff there. As far as like tuning in the future, feel free to tune in on Saturday. We have Anthony Conrad is going to be on here. He was the first person to reach out to us that we didn't reach out to first. And so I'm excited about that because it's someone that I don't know at all. And so it's going to be more of like a discovering a new person. So I'm super psyched about that. Same thing with the next day after that's Larry Anderson. We got him on Sunday. And then we have Elliot going on Thursday. And then Jake and Aubrey Bell on the 10th, which is that next Sunday. And then a couple more people again waiting to confirm next Saturday or Sundays and Thursdays. So, sorry, something popped up on my screen. I was like, what the heck? So yeah, so that's what we got looking forward. As far as like us having another episode, let's look for one sometime, maybe in March or something. We can do it. And other than that, happy New Year. I pray and give you good jujus on the fact that you guys have a fantastic 2021. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the very least at Josh's wedding, if not maybe sooner if possible. But other than that, hasta luego from Nebraska. Hope you guys are having a good time tonight and love you both.
Love you guys.
Yeah, love you
Peace.
guys too, man. Be
Happy
safe.
New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year,
Yeah.
everybody.
See you guys.
See you later.
Peace.